And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Alive. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere, and I don't know where to start. First of all, we got a Supreme Court going crazy, huh? We have a few cases to speak about tonight. You have affirmative action in college admissions being basically struck down by the high court. Shout out to them, and shout out to Trump for making it happen. Shout out to Trump for appointing those necessary to get this particular thing done. Also, shout out to the Supreme Court for striking down Joe Biden's student loan debt relief, which was totally unfair from the beginning. And also, at the same time, because of the debt limit bill that they signed earlier in June, your student loan payments are going to come due again on, well, they'll be due in October, but they're going to start accruing interest in late August, early September. By September the 1st, your payments will start accruing interest again, and you got to start paying it in October. We'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Also, Jordan Williams, the New York City stabber, I suppose, the self-defense person, has not been cleared, but he has not been indicted by a grand jury, unlike your main man, Daniel Penny. The BMI scale is racist. We'll talk about all these things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. Thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. We got a whole lot going on tonight. I see a lot of you guys talking about Twitter, talking about a few different things that are going on. There is a whole lot happening in this world of ours. First of all, thank you guys who came to the Nashville event. I really appreciate it. It was super last minute. Like, we were talking about it for like a day. And then like the next day I had a flyer. I put it on my Instagram. And then I had an event out there in Nashville. It was a good thing. A lot of you guys showed up. It was a good crowd. Spoke to a lot of you guys that were there. You know, I don't want to say everybody's names. No, I'm going to forget somebody. But everybody who was there, you know who you are. Thank you guys for being there. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I'm going to do more speaking engagements like that. You know, I get invited to a lot of things, and sometimes I go, sometimes I don't go, but I'm going to be more social. I'll be doing more speaking engagements for you guys. If you guys want me to come to your particular city, your particular town, wherever you are, you have some kind of organization or whatever that you know you're familiar with, just ask them, hey, shout out to Rub Without a Reason. I see you in the chat, boss. Thank you for joining, man. I appreciate you for being there. But it was a good time. And if you want me to come to your particular place and you know if an organization is going to bring me out, just say, come on and bring me out. Let's talk about it. See if we can work something out, and I'll be there. All right. Yeah, I didn't know about it either until the very last minute. I knew about it like the day before. And still, even with traffic and the no notice, it was still good. So I think the next time I do an event like that, I'll have better notice and we'll get it out there. Shout out to my new friend Jabri out there in Nashville for making it happen. He gave me a call like, hey, man, we need a speaker for this event. We'd love for you to come out. And that's just what it was. So thank y'all again, everybody that was there. I really, really appreciate y'all. It was a great time. All right. Now we got sponsors, we got topics, we got a little bit of everything. But again, thank you guys for being here. Could not do it without you. If you enjoy the content on this channel, if you enjoy these live streams, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Should I go back to Virginia time I am? Back to Virginia and do one of these events? Yeah, I might go back to Virginia or, you know, West Virginia. Yeah, so I think I'll most certainly do that. Maybe I'll do one right here in Chattanooga, or I can go to Atlanta and do one. Yeah, so... But thank you guys for joining. Shout out to you, Lana and saying from Namibia, all the way out there in Southwest Africa. Shout out to you. All right, we got sponsors on deck before I get into the topics and everything. Shout out to PatriotPost.us, your best source of news and information anywhere on these internets. Their link will be in the description box, or you can just visit Patriot Post, PATROI, RIOTPOST.us. Again, PatriotPost.us. Check them on out. Link in the description box. Also, go to ABLmerch.com. That is ABLmerch.com. We got hats, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, mugs, and more, including the brand new 1984 George Orwell type things going on. All right, year of my birth, and also year that a great book was named after, 1984 George Orwell. Check out all the merch on the website, ablmerch.com. Also, go to anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter BLOGAN.com. Go to the front page of the website. You can find an article for each video that I've produced. And in the article, I have sources from left, right, independent, agnostic, whatever you want. Videos on there that I can't play on the YouTube. Everything will be right there on the website. Again, ANTHONY, the letter BLOGAN.com. Also, go to anthonyblogan.com/contact to find my email address, my snail mail address, my social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All that's right there on the contact page. And if you're ever wondering, hey, I wonder if I'm talking to ABL right now about cryptocurrency, about real estate investment, about something that requires me to send some random sketchy email, Nigerian scammer 007 at hotmail.com, or Lithuanian 400 pound on my bed at home at gmail.com. They're telling me to send them $400 on an iTunes gift card. If that's happening to you, first of all, that's a scam, regardless of what. It doesn't matter if it's me or a different channel. If anybody on the YouTubes asks you for something like that, it's a scam right away. Call the federales, get them out of here, okay? That's number one. But number two, if you're ever wondering, hey, is that ABL? Am I talking to the real ABL right now? Just go to the contact page and see if anything on there matches up with who you're talking to. If there's a phone number on there, it's not me. The only phone number you have is the one that I give out on my show. That's it, the 434-658-1220. That only works when I take calls during the show. The email, contact@anthonyblogan.com. Excuse me. They're all right there on the website. I'm getting choked up talking about it. 1 second. I got some dust or something in here. The weather's been crazy. Like we had smoke down here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Like a haze in the sky. We had a haze in the sky a couple of days ago, and then we had just about 2 hours ago, we had a really bad thunderstorm with hail. I'm in the living room, just minding my business, chilling, getting a little something to eat. All of a sudden, I'm hearing it's like some tapping on my windows. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what is happening? Do we have debris falling from the rooftop during this rainstorm? Nah. I go to my front door, and there's a little area where it's like a little cover area. I got a little bench right there. You could put packages right there. It's not gonna get wet. It's like a little entrance to the home that's covered up. Anyway, I look out there and I'm seeing little small hailstones. I'm like, okay, we got hail, we got smoke, we got 100-degree temperatures. It's a whole lot going on. It's a mess. Is it the mist, David Hughes? It probably is. We got smoke, hail, rain, heat. We got everything. I wouldn't be surprised if it got to be 30 degrees and it froze up and then was 100 degrees the next day. It's like, what is going on? Oh, and you know what? That's all for the sponsors and the whatnot. And you guys are great for being here. Appreciate that. But I got to ask a question. Is this smoke or is it something else? And are we going to get this so-called smoke every 2 weeks or what? We just had the smoke earlier in June, and then at the end of June, we get it again. I've never seen the smoke before in my life out here on the East Coast. A lot of you guys in the West, that's kind of usual because of the dry temperatures, the forest fires. But I've never in my life, in my whole 38 years of living, I've never seen smoke like you guys get over in the West Coast on the East Coast. So for me to never have seen it, not one time in my whole entire life, then I go from that to seeing it twice in 1 month. Is it smoke or is it something else? have you ever seen New York City turn orange from so-called forest fire smoke? Why did we have smoke all the way down here in Tennessee? Why did we have smoke all the way down like almost Atlanta, Georgia from Canada? How does it make any sense? I'm not really sure. But whatever. It's a mess. You know, I saw a heat map, and the map of where the smoke was, it looked like it was concentrated in the US, not Canada. Because here's my logic. Maybe I'm just wrong. I would think that you would have a higher concentration in Canada first, and then the wind would blow it down on the lower 48. And as the wind blows it, it becomes dissipated, meaning it's not going to be clumps centered in certain places. But that's what I saw on the map. It was a clump like in Ohio. It's like, why is it one big clump in like Cleveland, Ohio, and then it gets kind of, you know, not so clumped up, and then it clumps again in a different city? But I'm told it came from Canada. I don't get it. Maybe y'all know more about it than I do. I have no clue. Smokes in Atlanta as well, Mary G. That's crazy. That's totally crazy. I'm just asking questions. I'm not making any kind of assertions. I'm not saying anything. I'm no tinfoil hat wearer. I'm nothing like that. I'm just asking a question. That is all I can do. Nothing more, nothing less. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. You said it's in Ohio, St. Louis, a little bit everywhere. Ohio, St. Louis, Atlanta, Detroit was bad. It's a lot happening. Virginia got smoked down there as well. You know, and then it's weird because you got guys like Eric Adams talking about, well, we got to ban the pizza ovens, or not ban them. We got to regulate the pizza ovens because that's the equivalent of the smoke that came from Canada. It's like the pizza ovens don't turn New York orange unless it's a food fight and you got the sauce and whatnot everywhere. Then maybe it'll turn orange. Okay. But beyond that, just regular pizza oven smoke is not going to turn the city of New York orange the way that the so-called smoke from Canada did. All right. But we got a whole lot going on. Where are we going to go first? Oh, Twitter. You guys are asking me about Twitter. Now, what's happening with Twitter is Elon Musk said that there's some kind of temporary measure that they did to stop data scraping or to slow it down. If you guys are asking me for the specific thing, I don't really know. I'm going to read what he said right here on the Twitters. And before I even get into it, long story short, some of you guys are not able to access Twitter. Some of you guys just can't get on it. It says rate limit exceeded. What's happening is you're being prevented from viewing a certain number of stories because there's a lot of bot activity happening. So temporarily, they're reducing how many stories you can view at one time or in a certain period of time. But if you have a verified account like I do, then you have a much higher rate. So basically, the more you scroll in your app, the less you're going to be able to use it at a certain point. Because you keep scrolling. You're going to view 1 story, 2 story, 3 story, 4 stories. You might view 1,000 stories, 1,000 tweets perhaps. And after you do that, it won't work anymore. That's what I'm seeing. But if you have a verified account, which means a paid account, $8 a month, if you have that, then you have a higher limit. Let me just show you what's going on right here. So if you guys are having problems with Twitter, if it says something like rate limit exceeded, this is why. Okay, this is what Elon said. So he says, the first thing, to address extreme levels of data scraping and system manipulation, we've applied the following temporary limits. Verified accounts are limited to reading 6,000 posts a day. Unverified accounts, 600 per day. New unverified accounts, 300 per day. Right? So basically, there's a lot of bots that get spun up and they're doing data scraping and they're trying to reduce that for now. Now they've updated those totals. See, 10,000 stories a day for a verified user like Elon, like me, like Raw's Alerts, 1,000 for unverified regular people, and 500 for brand new accounts that are unverified. Like accounts that just came up today, basically bot accounts, fake accounts. That's what's going on. So that's what's happening. He didn't say it was a DDoS, but maybe it was a DDoS, but that's not what he said. So I don't want to say a thing that he didn't say, but maybe that's what it is. I have no idea. All I could do is just tell you what's going on. People said that Elon broke the platform. That's not true. What Elon also said is that Twitter is having all-time highs for viewership, for concurrent users on the platform. He's at an all-time high. Let me see if I can find that particular tweet as well. Oh, here it is. Watch this. So this tweet is from yesterday at about 5:30. He says this platform hit another all-time high in user seconds last week. So, and that had 35 million views by itself. Twitter is not dying. It is not dead. If anything, when Elon Musk purchased it, it increased popularity of it because it's a place you could just say things freely. You could just say kind of whatever you want, right? And not necessarily to be hateful. I mean, you're going to have some of that. You're going to have people that are hateful, of course, on the platform, but that's going to be there regardless of what's happening, okay? When you had the heavy censorship of conservative people, you had quite a bit of hateful rhetoric toward conservatives that didn't really get challenged. You could call somebody a Nazi, a white supremacist. It wasn't really a big deal, like Jamel Hill did. Jamel Hill called Trump and white supremacists. They do that all the time on Twitter back in the olden days before Elon Musk came in, and it was never really a big deal. But now you could say whatever. You have true freedom of speech to a certain extent. You can't do and say any and everything. I'll put it to you this way. The censorship is much better right now on the platform than it was prior to Elon Musk coming aboard. All right. So that's what that is. All right. So yeah, shout out to Twitter. Shout out to Elon Musk. And that's just what's going on. So if you guys are wondering why your app is not working or it's working kind of funky, that is what's going on. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Now, speaking about Twitter, I got quite a few videos from that platform about other things that I can get into. There's quite a few things going on, and we are going to get into it. We shall get into it. There's some confusing things that I saw. Very, very, very confusing. Lindsey Graham was at a Trump rally. Now, maybe you guys know more about this than I do. I had no idea that they were on the same page. I thought Lindsey Graham was not really a Trump supporter. I don't really know what's happening. Before I get to that, Michael Critchlow says, are we going to address the Erica Marsh tweet? I have no idea who that is. You got to give me more information on that one. Yeah, you got to tell me. I don't know who Erica Marsh is. Let me see if I can find that right quick, and then I'm going to get right back to the Trump rally. Let me see. Erica Marsh. Oh, yeah. I don't know who, is that a real person, Erica Marsh? I think that we have not figured that out yet. I think that might be a troll, a fake person pretending to be, like, who is that? Erica Marsh says something. I'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this particular thing, and then I'll read your chat later and revisit it. Let me get back to Trump and Lindsey Graham. So Lindsey Graham got booed for 6 minutes straight at a Trump rally. Now, again, I don't know why. Let's get some sound. I don't know why. I don't know why he was brought to the actual rally. Did Trump invite him? And the things that he was saying some pro-Trump stuff, but he was getting booed the entire time. Let's check this out.
This is a place where people pay the taxes, fight the wars, and tell you what they believe. I believe that Donald Trump was a great president.
Okay, we got some cheers, but quite a bit of booing at the same time. Now, here's my question, though. Here's my question. Okay, if Lindsey Graham is this bad guy, and a lot of Trump people don't like Lindsey Graham, why is he at a Trump rally speaking for Trump? Did Trump invite him? If Trump invited him, and that's his friend, and he spoke for Trump, then why is he being booed? I don't really get it. Now, I get it. I understand. I understand about Lindsey Graham, the whole rhino thing going on. I get it. The question is, why is he there? I don't understand. Maybe y'all know something I don't know, but that's what's happening. And for a good 6 minutes, there was quite a bit of booing going on. Let's skip ahead a little bit to see if it's continuing.
And you ought to be damn proud of it. This is the most conservative court in my lifetime because of Donald Trump. I can promise you this. When it comes to Donald Trump, the best is yet to come.
Okay, so the booing got a little bit lighter as the speech progressed. It got a teeny tiny bit lighter as the speech progressed. So shout out to him. Now I don't know where that was. You guys let me know. Oh, that was South Carolina. Now wasn't Lindsey Graham was he the senator or the governor of South Carolina? What was he in South Carolina? Like, isn't he from there? Let me see. He was a senator, yeah. Okay. Here's some news from it. Let me see if I can put it on the screen right quick. Just quick articles. We're not going to read them. Just the headlines. Says Trump outlawed Lindsey Graham booed off stage at South Carolina MAGA rally near his hometown. Wow. That's crazy. Getting booed in your own hometown. Lindsey, what did you do? Like, what was it? Was it that bad? I mean, what in the world's happening? Republican Lindsey Graham faced an onslaught of boos as he stumped for former President Donald Trump at a rally in his home state of South Carolina Saturday, with supporters giving him a thumbs down as he left the stage. So he got booed off the stage? That's crazy. And then here's another article right here. Trump says Lindsey Graham can help him get liberal votes as crowd boos mention of senator. So, okay, then I guess Trump came out and was saying Lindsey Graham can help him get liberal votes. So basically he's calling Lindsey Graham a liberal guy. I don't really understand. Why would you bring a guy who you characterize as a liberal who should be conservative? I'm kind of perplexed. I'm kind of perplexed. You might as well have brought Tim Scott out there. He would have done better in front of that crowd, in my humble opinion, rather than Lindsey Graham. That was not really the right thing to do. But whatever. You know, people make decisions and you got to live with it. So it is what it is. Yeah, Trump brought him and invited him, let him speak, and then he poked fun at him. Why? If you bring somebody, why would you then poke fun at him? Don't invite him if you're going to do that. That's just really weird. But whatever. We got more news going on here. So do you guys know about this bodybuilder that passed away? Young guy, 30 years old. What's his name? Joe Stedix. Joe Stedix was 30 years old and died of an aneurysm. Now, we got to bring out the obvious part here. The obvious is that Joe Stedix had been vaxxed, not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times. 4 times vaxxed. Now, am I saying here on ABL Live that this guy died as a result of being vaxxed not once, not twice, but thrice and 4 times? I'm not saying that. No, I'm just saying that he did have that going on. Now, of course, obviously, we got some HGH, testosterone, steroids. We got some juice going on. Listen to me very clearly, guys out there, if you don't know. You guys are smart. I know you understand. You cannot look like that, the way he looks right here, without some kind of juice. It's impossible. Okay, to have all that muscle and like no body fat, it's just not possible without something extra. I don't know what his protocol was, but there was something else going on. So maybe, just maybe, having a mix of, you know, some things for bodybuilding, some HGH tests, whatever you got going on, trend, maybe a mix of that plus 4 vaxes. Maybe that wasn't the right combination. I don't know. But I'm just saying, 30 years old, dead. May he rest in peace. And prayers out to his family. He was a big YouTuber. He had a 8.4 million on Instagram. I think he had over 1 million on YouTube. I didn't really know about him, really. But apparently he was really well known. All right. 30 years old, gone. All right, come on. Looking like that, that's like Liver King, right? Looking like that, you're going to be on juice. If you look like that, you are on juice, period. Ain't no amount of working out and fasting and dieting and no water. Nothing will do that to you other than juice. All right? That's just what that is. So, a couple things to learn from that. Number one, the juice, it might be kind of dangerous for you. It might be dangerous. But number two, also the shots might be a little bit dangerous. I don't know the exact reason for the aneurysm. I'm not a doctor. I'm not the medical examiner. I've not seen this guy. I don't know nothing. I'm just saying what is most likely scenario. That's all. And is that right, James Ellis? You almost look that good as well, huh? Is that, you're like close to that? Okay. If you look almost that good, then I am Santa Claus, because I got a great beard. I'm Santa Claus. I'm coming down your chimney. I'm taking the cookies in the milk and leaving you a PS5 with no games. That's what I'm going to do. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. So Jamie says it right there. Jamie says he talks about using steroids on YouTube. Of course. Yeah. I mean, at least he's open about it. Even if he wasn't open about it, it's pretty obvious. It's obvious. If you see Elvira or somebody like that, and you got this stuff going on, it's like, all right, we know that that's not 100% natural. We can kind of like put 2 and 2 together and still get 4. All right, we can still get 4. But we have quite a bit to speak about here. We're going to get into the Supreme Court cases and everything else. We shall get into it. All right. Speaking about body types and being overweight and whatnot, did you guys see that BMI is racist? Did y'all see that? So BMI, body mass index. This is a thing that if you put in your height, weight, it'll give you a number, and that number will correlate to like a graph that has a spectrum. So whatever the number is, that is pretty much where you are. You could be underweight, normal, healthy weight, obese. No, pardon me. It's underweight, normal, healthy weight, overweight, and then obese. Now, a lot of people, they put their height, weight into the BMI calculator, and it pops back that they are obese. And then they're triggered because they say, oh, well, I look good. I got curves, all this, that, and the third, the test is racist. Well, look, just because you may have curves and you may have a lot of weight in places where guys like it, it doesn't mean you're not overweight or obese. All that means is that you don't look necessarily bad to some people. All right. But you know what? That's kind of in the eye of the beholder. In America, we're used to seeing people that are obese. We're used to going to Walmart and seeing somebody that's 1,000 pounds in the aisle, blocking the entire aisle. And you can't even get around them, and they're going to be scooting along at the slowest rate. You're talking about tortoise speed, right? Just barely boot scooting along. They can't get into the little hover round type craft because they're going to break that, right? So they're barely boot scooting along. If you see that all the time, and then you see a person that's 275 pounds, that's like they look thin in comparison, right? Even me at my height, weight, I'm overweight. I'm not obese, but I'm overweight. If I got down, like at my height, I'm about 6'2", 6'3". If I got down to about 190, I guess I'd be in a normal range. I'm a little over that. So I'll be considered overweight, and it's okay. It's just the reality of the situation. But some people say that It's racist because black folks look better with fat than white folks, which, again, it's in the eye of the beholder. It's really in the eye of the beholder because some of these so-called thick people look ridiculous. The whole thing with the BBL, you guys know what that is. When they, all the surgical enhancements to bodies, they look ridiculous. Okay, they get the lip fillers, the BBL, Mr. Potato Head in full action. The Kim Kardashian 2014 look is not appealing. You look completely ridiculous. You look like a glowworm. You look like a Bug's Life. You ever seen that cartoon, The Bug's Life, or the movie? Hold on. This is how they look. Let me see if I can find the appropriate picture. Okay. Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. I'm gonna try to find it. I'm gonna do my best. I might not be able to find it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, hold on. Nah, that's not even a good representation. But y'all understand what I'm saying. They look crazy, look like a Bug's Life. They look just really disproportionate. You look like some kind of thing from my garden. I was driving on the way to Nashville, matter of fact. I'm driving to Nashville, and then as I'm on the road out here in chat, I got dive bombed by a beetle, hopped right in my vehicle. I almost jumped out of the window like the car was on fire, like a smoothed out, like out the window. But I didn't. I kept my cool on the interstate. It's cars everywhere. I can't just park my car and dive out. I thought it was a bee, had all kind of crazy colors on it. But people look like that, like insects. And I thought we were human beings. But anyway, I digress. Let me show you the video of the person from Now This News who's talking about how your BMI number is rooted in racism. Let's check it out.
BMI disproportionately impacts people of color because in the United States, people of color, and especially Black people, tend to have higher weights than white populations. And there's any number of reasons for that. Black people were actually bred to be bigger and stronger during.
I hate the whole thing about genetics because, listen, if you don't have access to food, you can't get obese. It doesn't matter what your genetics are. If you eat food, your body may look a certain way. You may have more of an ability to gain strength. I don't know. You may look a certain way physically from eating, but the first requirement is to eat. You go to Africa, you don't see the African American obesity at all. You only see that in places where there's a lot of food. If there's no food around, they're struggling, they're starving, they're not going to have obesity. It's just that simple. The whole genetics argument is bogus. You can only get obese from eating.
In the era of slavery. As a result, what we find is that today, Black people tend to be more muscular than white folks. And we might imagine that this means that Black people also tend to be heavier. So there's a very clear way in which BMI entraps Black people by suggesting that your bodies in and of themselves are inherently unhealthy, according to a white standard.
Now, this is ridiculous because I know where the obesity problem comes from being in the community, from growing up in the community. We eat so much just ridiculous garbage all the time. The whole 3 meals a day thing we bought into, okay, you eating just garbage. Pop-Tarts, cream of wheat, grits, smothered biscuits, all of that extra stuff. I know you're getting hungry now. You eating all kind of Popeye's chicken biscuits, fried chicken, ribs, tater salad, yams, macaroni and cheese. You know, here's the thing about it. Check it out. Now, I eat a very, I don't want to say strict diet, but I'm pretty strict. I eat 1 meal a day now. I was doing like 1.5, but I eat 1 meal a day, literally. That's it. Maybe I might have a snack maybe later on, like a handful of peanuts. But like today, what did I have today? Here's what I ate today. Today is 8:40 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, I've been up since about 7:30 in the morning. What I had today, I ate at about 3:30. I did not have any food from the time I got up this morning until 3:30. What I had was some grilled chicken thighs on the Foreman grill. No fried food, none of that. Put it on the grill. I had some jerk sauce on it from Whole Foods. Shout out to Whole Foods. and the sauce was pretty good. I let it marinate. But anyway, I digress. I had that. I had some steamed asparagus, again from Whole Foods, and I had a small serving of rice with a water. That's it. I weigh 215, 220 pounds right now. Okay. You're not going to starve to death. People just eat way too much. They eat way too much. Now, I might have some peanuts or something later, just for my digestion, some peanuts, maybe some blueberries, things like that. I don't have a lot of sugary snacks. You know, I grew up, you know, I love them honey buns when I was a kid. Oh, man. Them honey buns that do something to you. But I don't eat that way anymore. All right? I don't eat that way. People will eat garbage all day long and then complain about the BMI standards being racist. No, maybe you eat too much all day and garbage. Hold on. Now, when I go back to Virginia for Thanksgiving, you know, I go to my mom's house, go to my uncle's house, and they're cooking food, right? They're cooking food, and they will have a plate looking like this. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but check it out. Here's what you're going to eat on Thanksgiving. You're going to eat that right there. So what do we have? We got bread. That might even be pie. It looks like sweet potato pie. It looks like not even cornbread. It looks like pound cake. The cranberry sauce was I never liked cranberry sauce. Disgusting. It's like a palate cleanser. Like you ever go to a soap store? I've been to a soap store before, and you go in the store, it's all kind of soap everywhere, and you smell on the soap, you see what you want to bring, and in between the different soaps, they have coffee grounds so you can cleanse your nose palate, so you can smell different soaps, not kind of all just blending together. That's what the cranberry sauce does. It cleanses your palate. Whatever you had on your palate before is gone. You're going to have no taste buds. It's going to refresh your taste buds, but I don't like that. But anyway, you got sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie, something right there, pound cake, macaroni and cheese, ham, chicken, yams, dressing, collard greens, cooked in pork fat, and more mac and cheese. Matter of fact, that's right there. That's a potato salad right there. My fault. Potato salad, macaroni and cheese, and a soda, and a beer over there. Now, people eat that way every day. I might eat that, not even all of that. I might eat half of that plate one time a year. A year. People eat like that every single day. And they wondering why they're 800 pounds. You're eating way too many calories, sugar, fat, salt, carbs, everything. Everything. And you're wondering, hey, I'm not fat. BMI's racist. Stop. Let's please stop. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay. Let's just cut it out. The sodium intake on that is crazy. Your sodium, you're going to be on dialysis at age 25. I promise you that. Yeah, it looks good, but you eat that every day? No. I don't drink no soda, no sugary sodas, no sugary drinks, period. Like these right here, Hint waters. Check it out. Hint, if y'all listening, I need an advertisement. I mean, come on. I'm giving you guys all the pub in the world. These things right here, you have some flavor to it, but there's no calories, there's no artificial sweeteners, none of that extra, none of that erythritol, none of that aspartame, none of that extra carcinogenic, allegedly, stuff. None of that stuff. You should be drinking that. Now, some people come to my house and they drink these and they're like, oh, it's bland, ABL. I can't taste nothing. Well, you drink Diet Coke every day or Fanta. You drink straight sugar all the day, every day. So, of course, when you drink when you drink water that's kind of bland but has taste, you can't even really taste it. I saw a video of a guy who got challenged to drink water. He got challenged to drink water, a gallon of water. It was a water challenge. Hey, man, drink water. He had his body rejected the water. He was spitting it back up. He kept going to the bathroom. It was a mess. because all he would drink was Gatorade, which ain't nothing but sugar. Okay, it ain't nothing but sugar. If you want to do something for your post-workout, eat watermelon. That's better for you. Gatorade ain't nothing but sugar. All he drank was Gatorade all the time, and it got to the point where water was bothering him. It's like, sir, you are a human being. You need to drink water. All right. At the end of the day, we're still animals. We're still flesh and blood. You don't see giraffes out in the wild drinking pools of Gatorade. They're gonna go to the water. That's what it is, man. If your body don't get water, man, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna be on dialysis immediately. But I digress. Yeah, I saw that, Sheree. Aspartame is supposed to be classified as carcinogenic by the World Health Organization. Now, that could be true, could be false. I'm not really sure about aspartame being carcinogenic, but what I do know is that aspartame, a lot of these artificial sweeteners ain't really good for you. Okay, stevia, I'm not sure about stevia quite yet, but I know stevia comes from a natural substance, but I'm not sure if it's safe for you or not. What about hint water? You can get that from Target, sometimes Costco. I went to Costco one time. They had a whole big pallet full of it. The next day, it was gone. The next day, I'm talking about. But normally, Target, Wally World, grocery stores, like we have Publix and Food City where I live, they have them. But definitely Target, they always have them, for sure. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Yeah, so if you are going to partake in sugar, eat fruit. You know, whole food. That's better for you. Watermelon is good. Blueberries, apples, oranges, grapes. But don't overdo it. You want to have a lot of your, if you're not vegetarian, you want your chicken, your fish, that type of thing. Beef is also good too, but not too much of it because it don't digest in your system. But I'm getting way too deep into the food advice, so I digress. Let's keep on rocking and rolling here. Let's talk about. I have some more videos actually. I want to show you guys before I get to my next topic. There's quite a few things going on. Yeah, you tried Smart Water, didn't get any smarter for today. I know the feeling. You know, I tried Smart Water. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be Albert Einstein now, but that didn't quite happen. Oh, ESPN. Have you guys heard about ESPN? Now I did a video today. Well, I put it out today about Sage Steele suing the company and then being offered $500,000 for hush money. Let's go back to Sage Steele. Actually, that's probably a good way to get into my next topic. Sage Steele's been going through a lawsuit with ESPN for the past 2 years. This all goes back to the whole vax mandate. Remember that? Remember all the vax mandates from all these companies? I mean, I knew that looking back on that, it'd be an embarrassing time for people that had anything. It was going to be an embarrassing time for any company that had such a thing on the books. Welcome. All right, so here is a video from back then. Let's not play that one. Here's video from back then about what was going on. Now, again, Sage Steele is still an ESPN anchor, host, whatever. I don't think she got fired yet. We'll talk about that part in a minute. Their mass layoffs. But she's suing the company because they improperly punished her for saying some things on, I think that might have been Jay Cutler's podcast. Jay Cutler, former NFL football player.
To another live edition of Sports alongside Matt Berry. I'm Sage Steele.
She's one of ESPN's biggest stars, even anchoring its flagship broadcast today. Tonight, she's hit the network with a big lawsuit.
Now, remember, this video that you're watching right now, this news clip is from 2001. Matter of fact, let's look at it right here. This is from 2022, so last year, April 2022. But the incident is from 2001, and 2021, pardon me.
Today, tonight, she's hit the network with a big lawsuit.
I respect everyone's decision. I really do. Yeah. But to mandate it is sick. Mm-hmm. And it's scary.
So right there, she was speaking about the vax mandate from ESPN and to a larger extent, the parent company, Disney. She was saying, hey, I respect everybody's decision to get it if they want to get it, but to mandate it was sick and scary. And to be transparent, at this time, she was vaccinated, but she was just talking about the mandate. That's all.
To me, in many ways.
Steele, who says she's vaccinated, discussed her COVID views on former NFL quarterback Jay Cutler's podcast back in 2021. Steele brought up comments about her biracial identity, then called out President Obama.
Barack Obama chose black and he's biracial. I'm like, well, congratulations to the president. That's his thing. I think that's fascinating considering his black dad was nowhere to be found, but his white mom and grandma raised him. But hey, you do you.
That interview, Steele says, led to retaliation for her remarks.
It's a little.
So here's a bunch of headlines right here. Sports Illustrated. Controversial Sage Steele interview is ESPN's latest headache. Sporting news. Why is Sage Steele off air at ESPN Sports Center? Anchors controversial statements led to decision. The Hill. ESPN removed Sage Steele from programming after controversial remarks. NPR. ESPN anchor Sage Steele off the air, et cetera, so on and so forth. It became a really big story.
Off to see someone who's been there for a while, has been developing and coming along, taking on the network at this point in her career.
By early October, ESPN responded, pulling Steele off the air temporarily, saying conversations with the anchor would remain private. Now, she's suing for damages and alleged violations of her civil rights. The lawsuit says her employer continued to punish Steele by removing her from prime assignments and bowed to groupthink and forced Steele to publicly apologize and suspended her for a period of time in October 2021.
Shout out to her for fighting back. Shout out to Sage Steele for fighting back. We need that kind of spirit in this country to continue.
When it comes to free speech, what is protected in the workplace?
She works for a private company, and that private company can make employment-based decisions based on what she says.
Kevin Goldberg is the First Amendment specialist at the Freedom Forum in Washington, D.C.
The First Amendment itself, as a constitutional right, only restricts the actions of government in silencing people.
The lawsuit says Connecticut law prohibits private employers from disciplining their employees for engaging in constitutionally protected speech in or outside the workplace.
She has a much stronger case in Connecticut than she would at the federal level.
In response to the allegations, ESPN says Sage remains a valued contributor on some of ESPN's highest profile content, including the recent Masters telecasts and anchoring our noon sports center. Also, denying the company ever suspended Steele.
What they did with Sage Steele was not necessarily suspend her, but it took her off the air. And the difference is that she was still paid. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying, but there was still a retaliatory measure. They made her apologize and all type of stuff. So there's still a lawsuit pending. And again, that news report right there that you just saw was from April of 2022 of last year. Now, the lawsuit is still ongoing. It's still happening. And they offered to give her $501,000 to settle it out of court. But if she took that money, then there was going to be a gag order. She could not speak about what's going on. So she rejected that and said, hey, you can't stifle my freedom of speech. That's the whole purpose of the lawsuit. Y'all are playing games. It's a free speech lawsuit, and you're trying to buy my silence, which would be ridiculous. So she's not going to accept that $501,000. That ain't no money anyway for a Sage Steele who's been on air for many, many, many years at ESPN, probably makes millions per year from her contract. So that ain't going to work. And she should keep on rocking. Most certainly should keep on rocking. Now, the thing about ESPN is that a lot of what they've been doing over the past few years, the whole going woke thing has not worked out very well for them. You know, things like this are not gonna help them. They're not gonna gain any supporters by doing this. And they look hypocritical because they are battling Ron DeSantis. And when I say they, I don't mean ESPN, I mean Disney, which is the same thing. Disney owns ESPN and ABC and other things. But Disney is currently battling Ron DeSantis over the same thing. They're saying that we have freedom of speech to support whoever we want to support. And you cannot stifle our freedom of speech, Ron DeSantis. So Disney has a freedom of speech lawsuit, but they're saying to Sage Steele, drop your freedom of speech lawsuit. I'm not saying that Disney is right in freedom of speech in the DeSantis case, but that's their argument. So if you're going to say we have freedom of speech and you're going to hang your hat on that and try to have a lawsuit against the Florida governor on that, then why are you trying to stifle your employees' freedom of speech? It's crazy. But I digress. ESPN just did a massive layoff, and I don't think Sage Steele was one of them. They laid off quite a few guys. Jalen Rose, a lot of people. Jeff Van Gundy, or was it Jeff? Yeah, Jeff Van Gundy. A lot of people got cut. So let's read all the cuts. You have 20 top on-air talents that are now fired from the network. Let's read them all. We're going to get into why this may have happened. Some say it's because of Pat McAfee. We'll get to that in a minute. So check it out. Jeff Van Gundy, Jalen Rose, Keyshawn Johnson, Max Kellerman, Susie Colbert. And by the way, she had been there for 27 years. 27 years at ESPN. Bye. Chris Chelios, Matt Hasselbeck, Steve Young, Rob Ninkovich, Neil Everett, Ashley Brewer, June Lee, LaFonso Ellis, I remember him, Todd McShay, Jordan Cornette, Jason Fitz, and David Pollock. All right. So here's Susie Colbert right there. Today I joined the many hardworking colleagues who have been laid off. Heartbreaking, but 27 years at ESPN was a good run. So grateful for a 38-year career. Longevity for a woman in this business is something I'm especially proud of. Next up, a project that gives back. Woke stuff for a woman. You see what I'm saying? Jalen Rose, same thing. He'll get on TV, talk about racism and inequality, all kind of ridiculous nonsense. The culture of wokeness that ESPN cultivated, which came from Disney, the parent company, in my opinion, that culture is what has led them right here to fire all this on-air talent, because these guys are not generating revenue because everybody's worried about being woke in a space where you got to worry about, catering to your sports fans. Your sports fans aren't going to be these wokesters. All right. Ashley Brewer, she was there for a while. June Lee, 4 years, he was there. ESPN issued the following statement about the layoffs. Let's see what they say. Let's see what their excuse is. Given the current environment, ESPN is determined it necessary to identify some additional cost savings in the area of public-facing commentator salaries, and that process has begun. This exercise will include a small group of job cuts in the short term and an ongoing focus on managing costs when we negotiate individual contract renewals in the months ahead. So if you are a Sage Steele and you still working at ESPN or anybody else beyond, you're only going to have two untouchable guys on the network, Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee. Anybody else, hey, you make X amount of money this year, well, check it out. Next year, you're going to make Y amount of money. And if you don't want to take that money, bye-bye. Go to Fox Sports 1, go back to your podunk little town where you started and try to make some money that way, because the wokeness that ESPN has fostered has now rendered them a broke company. From my point of view, again, all you really have on ESPN right now, Stephen A., Pat McAfee. That's it. Check it out. This is an extremely challenging process involving individuals who have had tremendous impact on our company. These difficult decisions based on more on overall efficiency than merit will help us meet our financial targets and ensure future growth. So that's what that is, straight from ESPN. Now, for me personally, I mean, anybody could have seen it coming. Anybody could have seen it coming. Now, Pat McAfee, where was he at before? I'm not really a guy that understands a lot about that world. He was somewhere before. Hold on. So apparently, Pat McAfee, 36 years old, recently signed a massive 5-year, about $85 million contract with a television platform. So where did he sign that? Did he sign on ESPN with that kind of money or what? I'm going to read this right here. See, they're trying to blame Pat McAfee because that was a recent sign and you knew that it was going to be a really big contract. So it was like, okay, if we're going to sign him, then we got to let y'all go. We got to figure out some money here. We can't get this big talent on board if we're going to have all these big contracts or to clogging out the network. Okay, so let's check it out right here. Pat McAfee to blame for ESPN firing many of his top T personalities. Now, he says it wasn't his fault, of course. Why would you come out and say, yeah, I'm the reason why everybody got fired? McAfee built his brand on YouTube from the ground up after retiring from the NFL. All right, let's see what he says. Pat McAfee is getting backlash immediately after ESPN laid off some of his top online personalities on Friday. Let's see. So he signed a 5-year, $85 million contract with the TV platform, and the show's going to air on ESPN starting in the fall. So that might do it right there. You got one guy making $85 million over 5 years on ESPN. Maybe that might look okay. Stephen A is going to bring in eyeballs. Pat McAfee, same thing. We're paying these guys a lot of money. You guys ain't nothing but wokesters. It's our culture that created the wokesters, but it's okay. You guys are dead weight. We're going to dump you right now. Who's Pat McAfee? Pat McAfee is a very well-known person in sports media. If you ask me much more, I wouldn't have nothing to say. I don't know too much about it. I just know that he's very popular on sports media. All right. So I think the reason why ESPN did this ultimately is because those that were there were not generating the revenue, and you want to bring on a guy that can. So that's it. You know, companies talk about, well, we got to foster this inclusive environment. All of that goes out the window when the bottom line gets introduced into the equation. All right. It's like, look, we're losing money. We're hemorrhaging dollars. We're going to go file Chapter 11 or whatever it is. How can we save our company? Fire all the woke people and bring on some locker room talk type guys like Pat McAfee. That's just what it is. So that tells you right there. Anytime somebody tries to come to you and say, oh, we got to be more sensitive and inclusive, all that and the third, tell them how that's nonsense. Tell them how these companies that believe in that don't really believe in that, just like Bud Light with the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing. They're trying to backtrack away from that. But at the same time, they still got some LGBT stuff going on. I don't know. You know, I saw Bud Light. They did they sponsored a float at the Pride Parade in Canada or something. I don't know if that was something that they already had in the pipeline that they didn't want to back out of. I have no idea. But after the whole Mulvaney kerfuffle, I would not talk about LGBT stuff anymore at all, ever. All right. Next Level says, will ESPN exist in 10 years? I think so, but they're going to have to revamp themselves. The thing that keeps ESPN afloat is the fact that they have contracts with NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, college sports. So as long as they keep focusing on the sports, like the actual games, focus on that, you know, focus on NCAA, focus on NFL football. If they do that, then they'll be fine. But if they want to get into try to do podcasts, woke stuff, you know, ridiculous things, like, you know what? One thing I saw from ESPN that they can fix, because listen, sports viewers, we're simple. We're men. We're really simple. Just give us what we need and we'll be there. We're not gonna hold a grudge. Look, I'm a basketball fan. I love basketball. Love it. I love playing the game. I love watching the game. I love basketball. More than football, more than baseball, more than anything. That's my sport, basketball. Love it. Lifetime fan. Now, here's the thing. I'm watching some of the analyst shows, or one of them at least. I'm watching the basketball game, and then halftime, they got the analysts to come on, or it was something like that. Anyway, I'm watching it, and then I see 3 women on there. And I ain't talking about, like, basketball players. I ain't talking about Candace Parker, Lisa Leslie, Dawn Staley, Sue Bird. I don't mean basketball players. I'm talking about, like, regular soccer moms. It's like, why am I seeing Martha Stewart, Rachel Ray? Why am I seeing these kind of women talk about basketball? Are we going to cook basketball-shaped pies? Are we going to go to the kitchen and have the game in there? Like, what's going on? I could see if you had basketball players that were women talking about the game. That makes sense. But you talking about people that cook rolls and donuts for a living, talking about basketball? I lie to you not. I swear on everything. You guys have seen that before. I'm like, this is just confusing. What am I watching right here? It's weird. It'd be Jalen Rose, some random soccer mom, 35-year-old white lady, and then some other random guy. What are we doing? If I'm watching a cooking show or a QVC or something like that, it makes sense. Just like I don't expect to see Charles Barkley and who's a random Kawhi Leonard. Okay, I don't want to see I don't want to see Scottie Pippen on QVC selling mixers and women's jewelry. Why am I seeing Scottie, 6'8" basketball player, talking about, yeah, these are beautiful earrings. You can wear them at your kid's graduation. It's like, sir, you're not in the right place here. You're mismatched. Anyway, if they can fix that, then we good money. But if not, it's going to be a problem. Because I'm not whenever I see that, I turn the channel right away because I know it's not going to make any sense. All right, but that's that for ESPN. They can turn it around, but we're going to see. We shall see. Now, can we get to some more here? Oh, let's talk about, speaking about sports, that's a great segue. Fox Sports 1, when that came out, or when it became more popular, when they got Skip and Shannon, that was like the anti-ESPN. They were like the anti-woke portion. You had that show, Marcellus Wiley. Shout out to him. I forget what it was called, but it was him and Emmanuel Acho. And then they got rid of Marcellus Wiley, and now it's Emmanuel. I don't even know who he's on the show with anymore because I stopped watching the show after Marcellus Wiley left because Marcellus had a more centrist kind of conservative point of view, and I liked it a lot. It made a lot of sense. But then when he left, you left with Emmanuel, who ain't nothing but a stomp down liberal. Now, Emmanuel did a very interesting video in support of affirmative action. Now, it got kind of weird. It's not safe. It's not unsafe for work, but it's a tad bit uncomfortable. You're going to see it and be like, where are we going with this? Like, what's happening here? All right. Now, we need some context before I show the video. I'm gonna read what he said for his caption. And by the way, Emmanuel Acho, he is a Fox Sports 1 host / anchor, and he was also in the NFL. He was an NFL football player, 32 years old now. I think he was in the NFL. I'm pretty sure he was. Let me just look him up right quick. Let me see. Yeah, he played in the NFL. Let me see what teams he played for. He played for, do we have any stats or nah? He played in Texas. He played at Texas. He played on the Browns, the Eagles, the Giants, and that was it. He had a short career. He was not he played in the league for about 2 to 3 years. He was on the Browns and the Eagles, and then he was on the Eagles practice squad. So not a very well-known player, but he did play in the league. Now, Emmanuel Acho also is a first-generation Nigerian immigrant to the U.S. His parents are missionaries, Christian missionaries, and his dad is a doctor. He grew up in Dallas, very well off, went to a private school, mostly white private school from what I know. So that's his background, okay? First-generation Nigerian-American, Igbo Nigerian parents. His dad is a doctor, okay? And they would go back to Nigeria doing missionary work. Now, this is what he says about affirmative action. He says, Harvard admitted its first student in 1636, but its first black student wasn't admitted until 1847. That's roughly a 211-year disadvantage for black and brown people. To overturn affirmative action is to allow the sins of our past to continue to permeate and poison our future. So that's his caption. Now, let's watch and be warned.
The oppressor has unfortunately won again. In case you missed it, Supreme Court, they overturned affirmative action.
Okay, so this article right here that he put on the screen says the Supreme Court has killed affirmative action. Mediocre whites can rest easier. That's a very racist article, but whatever. Let's start from the top so you're able to get the full thing. Then I got my commentary afterward. And yes, he is undressing. He won't get totally, birthday suit on us, but I got to address the elephant in the room. Let's start from the top to get the full picture.
The oppressor has unfortunately won again. In case you missed it, Supreme Court, they overturned affirmative action. What does that mean? That means that colleges can no longer allow race or gender to play a role in admittance. Here is why that is a pivotal mistake. Well, number one, race has always played a factor in determining college admittance. What do I mean? College admittance is primarily based upon standardized testing. Well, standardized testing isn't actually a metric of intelligence. Standardized testing is a metric of resources. It's a metric of what caliber of education did you receive. Well, your education is based upon the public school system or private school system that you went to, primarily public school system. A public school system is based upon the resources of that public neighborhood. That public neighborhood is based upon redlining, and redlining has been based upon racism. Okay, let me give it to you in the inverse. If racism dictated redlining, who could live in what neighborhoods? Probably put the black people and the brown people over here. And redlining dictates who lives in a neighborhood. Who lives in a neighborhood dictates the resources of that school. And the resources of that school dictate how much help you can get for a standardized test. And a standardized test now dictates who gets into a university. Well, then racism was always in who gets into and who cannot get into universities. So affirmative action was simply going to undermine the negative racism that started the college admissions process in the first place. Now, the last thing I'll leave you with is this, and this is the most ironic crime of them all. Legacy admittance is still a thing, which simply says if your parents went to this institution, well, colleges will factor that in to whether or not you can get into an institution. But guess who's more likely to have parents at an institution? White people. Because white people were more likely to get into colleges when it was unlawful for black people to be granted admittance. I'll leave y'all to think about that.
Okie dokie. So there's so much there. First of all, the whole striptease thing, I have no idea why he did that. Maybe it was maybe he thought it would go viral if he did something like that. You want to show off his pecs or whatever. I don't know what's happening. All right, but that's what he did. He decided to take his shirt off and whatnot during the video. But it's so silly. It's so silly. It's screaming, please accept me, white man. Please accept me. It's so dumb. He grew up privileged with a dad. Look, your dad was a doctor. Tell me this, Emmanuel. How much money did your dad have in Nigeria to the point where he became smart enough to become a doctor? You tell me. What's the education like back in Niger? You tell me. Okay, like I don't really understand. It's silly. Money in schools does not make for a good school. You gotta have three things. You gotta have good parents, kids, teachers. Parents, kids, teachers. You gotta have all three working together. If one of them is not working right, and the whole thing won't work right. And usually what happens is you have bad parents. That's the first weak link right there, because if the parents don't care, listen, how much money will it cost for a school to function properly and teach these kids properly when their parents do not care about the kids' education? Listen, I always say this, and I'm going to come back so you can see me clearly. Both of my parents on my dad's side, my grandparents on my dad's side were school teachers. Granny and granddad, both school teachers. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to try to find that picture right quick. Both of my grandparents on my dad's side were school teachers, granny and granddad. And they told dad some things and they told me some things about school. And one thing dad told me that they told him was that you might see a gap between black and white kids and black and Asian kids. And the reason is because the reason is because the white and Asian kids teach their children before they get to K through 12. So here's what goes on. The white kids will get flashcards. They'll go to summer camps. And let's say there's no money involved. It could be in a trailer park, whatever. It could be like I've seen some of these videos on Twitter of this lady cooking beanie weenies in a trailer park for her white kids. That mother with no money in a trailer park cooking beanie weenies, what they call it, what the Mexicans call it, Arroz con beanie. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. They can have that kind of condition financially, but still find a way to educate the children. You put them in front of some kind of TV show that's educational and not woke. Flashcards. Teach them how to color, how to count, basic skills that they need. How to tie their shoes, how to count to 10, how to count to 100. Their name, their birthday, their address, things like that. Things that I got taught by my mom. My mom taught me these things as a kid. Okay? Now, too many of us in the community have a ridiculous culture where we think that the government's got to do everything. So by the time you get to be in kindergarten, K through 12, pork and beans, that's right. By the time we get to be kindergarten, K through 12, at that point, we have no skills. At 5, 6 years old, we have no skills. We can't count to 10. We can't write our own name. We don't know our own address. We don't know any phone numbers. We know nothing. We have nothing. So we're already behind. And if you're behind at an early age like that, that's going to continue when you get to be an adult. That's going to keep on going. So once you get to 3rd grade and you can't read or you're struggling with reading, that's going to always be there. It's going to always be there. So you need to have early education. My mom and whatnot, they read to me in the womb, sang to me in the womb. But to many of us, what we doing? Smoking weed, drinking, drugging, getting high. Now that's impacting white parents, black parents, but too much among the community. The fentanyl and whatnot. You got, I saw the one video of the baby being born on the sidewalk, white baby being born right there on the sidewalk in San Fran to a drug addict mother. Now, what kind of chance does that baby have to succeed from a brain power standpoint, from a scholastic standpoint? How about when the boy is 11 years old and he's 5'8" and 120 pounds and is expected to be a bodyguard for the mom rather than trying to be a schoolboy and learn, huh? So then that same boy is applying to Harvard for some reason. He has no business trying to go to Harvard. And of course, he's going to have low SAT scores. His IQ is not going to be high. He will not be very well educated. And then guys like Emmanuel Acho will get on Twitter and get naked and say the reason why that he should be admitted is because of prior racism. Meanwhile, if little Jarquavion gets admitted, he's going to struggle. He's going to be in the bottom percentage of the class. And then he's going to say the reason why he's struggling is because he's black and there's racism going on. When the reality is you're just not cut out for that. You are not cut out for that. Now, let me show a stat. And I'm gonna try to source this stat. So y'all please give me some grace. But let me go ahead and just put this stat on the screen. Okay. Check it out. Because he mentioned legacy admissions. That's a key talking point. They're saying, oh, well, they're trying to eliminate affirmative action. What about legacy admissions? They shouldn't be there either. First of all, you can't just get into the college on legacy. You still got to be able to know what you're doing. And the same thing for the black folks. They have okay test scores, but they're not as high as what they should be. They have test scores to go to a state school, maybe, or a little bit above, but not to some exclusive Ivy League like Harvard. And then that's a different story would be, we got a bunch of LGBTQ, elemental P, X, Y, and Z, and whatnot happening at Harvard. So do you want to go there anyway? Different story. I digress. So here's the stat that's very key. If Harvard admitted students only from the top 10% of applicants, now what does that mean? That means no other preferences. That means no legacy admissions. Okay, be clear. No legacy admissions. No race preferences. No athletic preferences. Only the top 10% of applicants from academic performance, from your SATs, from your GPA, from where you went to high school. All of that goes into it. Check it out. If they did that just from the top 10%, nothing else, no preferences, Asians, their share of admitted would rise from 24.9 to 51.7. Their share of admitted would double. It would more than double. Okay, it'll rise by 100%. white share would slightly drop from 37.6 to 35.5. So that right there, that drop is probably because of legacy admissions. So taking away legacy admissions, taking away anything else, athletics, legacy, whatever, they would only drop by about 2%. They'd pretty much stay the same. So the whole legacy argument is a moot point to make. It makes no sense to even bring it up. It's a talking point without any data to support it. Now, here's where it gets tricky. If Harvard only admits from the top 10% of applicants, Hispanics, their numbers would drop from 14.9 to 2.7% of admitted. And blacks would go from 15.8 to 0.9. So they're saying that's racist. I say the top is racist. Okay, the normie leftists say the bottom two stats are racist. I say the top stat is racist. Okay? Listen, if whites and Asians are going to dominate the college campus, then that's because they're the best students. They're the top 10%. It is what it is. People can talk about IQ levels. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's really irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. That's just the facts. Now, it's up to blacks and Hispanics to tighten up. If we want to be in Harvard more than we are right now, then tighten up. And if we can't, we can't. It is what it is. Now, check it out. You still have HBCUs. You still have regular colleges. You still have Harvard. If you can get in there, there's not a block to go into Harvard. All you got to do is have that performance to get there. It's simple. It's very, very simple, but people don't want to look at it like that. They think that these numbers are racist. Let's have your admittance be based on performance, on merit, and not anything else. Legacy admissions is a talking point. It's a red herring. It's not really a real thing. As I just showed you, it wouldn't really be a difference. A 2% drop in legacy admissions, okay, cool. But race-based admissions are racist. You can't have that. That's just not what it is. Now, some people are going to say HBCUs. You can go to a HBCU if you're white. That's not how it works. HBCUs are not race specific. All that means is that it's historically black. Some HBCUs are actually majority white. Bluefield State is like 70% white. WVSU in West Virginia State University, that's also like 70% white. These are black colleges historically that are majority white right now. Okay, all that HBCU means is that it's historically black. Over the years, like, it was around during segregation, and black folks had to go there. So, of course, legacy is going to be mostly black, and that's just what it is. Now, over time, some of them became mostly white because it became more of a state school by default rather than a quote-unquote black school. And it is what it is. Migration away from the place of black folks and bringing in mostly white folks, it is what it is. You have mostly white schools too, but they don't market themselves as mostly white. They just are what they are, and it's okay. All right. Now, let's get to another video here that I show also in my video today of an Asian guy breaking down the whole situation, breaking down the whole thing and making it make sense. He made it make all the sense in the world. Kenny Zhu. And CNN did not like this video one bit. Oh, they didn't like it.
Kenny,
let's check it out right quick. Hold on.
Kenny, can I ask you though? I mean, colleges, obviously they care about grades and SAT scores, but they also are filling universities of people, human beings who have other factors that they bring to the table. Why is it not okay for them to consider those things?
I'm saying if you're going to consider those things, you should consider them without respect to race.
Sure.
So as you know, a lot of Asian Americans.
I think that's exactly right. But socioeconomic status doesn't. If you take race out of it, let's call it socioeconomic status, where whether or not they grew up wealthy or poor.
Why does that even matter? It's like, look, are you a smart person, a dumb person? Do you have high test scores? Are you gifted? Are you not gifted? Why does where you grew up matter? If you're gifted, you're gifted. It doesn't really make a difference. Okay. Now, if you have and the whole thing about money, I hate the whole thing about money being the equivalent to being gifted. If anything, it's more correlation causation. If you come from a wealthy family, chances are you have intelligent parents. Normally, you have intelligent parents. So you're going to be intelligent as well. That's usually how that works. If you have parents that are not intelligent, you might not be intelligent either.
Or is that not something that colleges might have an interest in considering?
The reason why you shouldn't consider that is because you should consider the success of an applicant. Because of affirmative action, Black Americans graduate from law school at the bottom 25% of their classes, largely speaking. And we don't want that. We want Black students to succeed. We want every student to succeed, low-income students to succeed. But you have to put them in scenarios, in places where they're likely to succeed. And lowering your standard to admit somebody of a socioeconomic status or race would not help them do that. In fact, it would harm their graduation rate and excellence.
Well, as the case also points out, the standard isn't necessarily lowered because students are all admitted. The question is whether race can be an added consideration, a tipping point in some of these cases.
The standard is lowered. The standard is lowered as the student premier admissions data shows. An Asian has to score 273 points higher on the SAT to have the same chance of admission as a Black person. So the standard is lowered for Black Americans.
Kenny Xu, thank you for your perspective. We really appreciate it.
3 points higher for an Asian to get in over a Black student? I mean, that's nuts. That's totally nuts. CNN, they didn't like that too much of CNN. Talking over them, not letting them speak. And by the way, Kenny Xu, regular KENNYZU. He's a board member of Students for Fair Admissions. Because the whole thing about Harvard, the whole thing about the Supreme Court was a case at Harvard and also UNC. Now, I don't know about the UNC case, but Harvard was about Asian students being discriminated against in favor of Blacks and Hispanics. And it's not okay to discriminate when you're talking about these schools that get state funding. All right. So that's what that was. Oh, and by the way, okay, personal moment. I found a picture of my granddad way back in the day. All right. This is an ABL live exclusive for you guys. All right. Y'all ready for this? Hold on. Let me try to zoom in right quick. So let me see exactly when this was. I gotta just tee it up for you guys right quick. This is from a yearbook back. I'm not sure when this was. Might have been the 40s. I don't even know. I might have to call my cousin and ask exactly when this was. I know he put it up. So let me check it out. All right. So there we go. That's Granddad right there. Chauncey Logan, English debate team. You wonder where I get it from, huh? You wonder where I get it from. That's him right there on the right, of course. Right? You can see. I think he might have been the only Black person, or the first Black person in Roanoke Public Schools back in the day. This might have been the 50s, actually. This might have been the 50s when he was there on a debate team. And then that's him right there in the picture. Okay. It says for the second year, the English department is functioning under the new English system. Juniors and seniors are again widening their horizons by changing their classes by the end of the semester. The annual book fair sponsored by the department gave the students an opportunity to buy used books at a reasonable price. All right. So yeah, there you go. In the blood. All right. So that's a little bit of, and that's why debating and English language and all that good stuff, that's what I know, because it's in me. You know what I mean? It's definitely in me. You know, wait a minute. You knew my granddad? Easy? Is that right? You grew up in Roanoke? Wow. Small world, huh? Did you know Chauncey Jr., my uncle? That's crazy. Small world, huh? Yup. So the point is, you get family members that are intelligent, that are teachers, that know things. Maybe that's going to be the same way that you are. All right. Yeah, Paw, that's definitely Paw right there. I think Granddad might have been maybe in his 30s in that picture. I'm not sure how old he was. I think it might have been in the 50s or the 60s in that picture. I'm not sure how old he was. Yeah, I can't really tell. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Oh, so you knew Uncle Chauncey as well. So you knew everybody, huh? You know all the people. You know the I don't want to say everybody's name on air, but you know everybody from up like Northwest, Eureka Park, all of that. Okay. Yep, that is my family members. Anybody over there, that's my family. So we got a connection right here. Shout out to you. Okay, my Uncle Melvin is still living. So I'll give him a call if you know him. All right. Did he say sir a lot? No, but he was just really well spoken. Always very well spoken. Good vocabulary. All right. Now, what are we going to get to here? Let's talk about, speaking about education and students or whatnot, let's talk about the student loan debt relief. Huh? Student loan debt relief. Did you guys think it was going to happen? Did y'all know what I knew, what many of us knew, that it was never going to happen? Huh? Now, Joe Biden had to have known that this was not going to go through. Even some of the Democrats are saying that they knew it wasn't going to go through. RFK Jr. said he knew it wasn't going to go through. They all knew it wasn't going to go through. Why? Because when he promised it, the Supreme Court was already 6-3 conservative liberal. He knew that he did not have the authority to push forward the student loan debt relief, but he promised it anyway because he knew that it would get him votes. He knew it would get him votes, and that's just what it was. Now, we got some video here, I believe, because they were asking him during the press conference, like, hey, why'd you give them false hope? Let me see if I can find those right quick. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. All right. Oh, and of course, Biden is now blaming Republicans. It's like, you blaming Republicans? Why are you doing that? He knew that it wasn't going to go through. You know? So let's go ahead and put that on the screen right quick. Here we go. Oh, and matter of fact, hold on. Before I even get to that one, I got another video too. I'm going to just cue all these up, and then I'm going to show where they were talking about, false hope and whatnot. Wait just one moment. Okay. Here we go. Let me see if okay, here we are. So first things first. First things first. Now, at the end of the interview, if you're sitting down talking on television, at the end of an interview, you got to just sit there and wait to be dismissed. You don't just get up in the shot and just walk away. Like Mr. Burns with the hands right in front of you. You don't do that. You sit there for a while, wait till the show goes to commercial break, and then when they come back, you're going to be gone. That's how that works. So watch this.
Well, and the ones that didn't vote for your bills but run on them.
That's right.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate
it's great to have you.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here.
So it's like, sir, where are you going? Where are you going with your hands in front of you like this, Mr. Burns? And she said, don't go anywhere. Was she talking to him or she just talking? Okay, talking to the audience, but also talking to him. Where are you going, sir?
Reaction and analysis to everything we just heard. Well, and
you don't do things like that. He had to go potty. That's what that was. He had to go potty, and you can see him right here. Like this little body language right here. He needs to get up and go to the potty. The diaper, hey man, it's wrecked. I need to get up right now and excuse myself from this. All right, that's what that was.
The ones that didn't vote for your bills but run on them.
That's right.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate
it's great to have you.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here. We'll have reaction and analysis to everything we just heard. Well, and
I don't know what's going on, but I think we can kind of pretty much figure out what's happening. We could put 2 and 2 together and still get 4, right? So that's your guy, the 81 million That's him. All right. Definitely very weird. Weird, to say the least. And look at his face right here. Now, this is fast forwarding to when he's being asked questions about the whole student loan debt relief thing that did not go through, as we all anticipated wouldn't go through. Look at his face. Deer in the headlights at best. Deer in the headlights at best. This is crazy. Now, I'm going to play 2 videos, and you're going to hear his reaction.
Did you overstep your authority?
I think the court misinterpreted the Constitution.
Mr. President, do you admit failure in Afghanistan? Mistakes?
Did you overstep your authority?
Okay, that's that one. And then there's the next one here.
Thank you.
Mr. President, why did you give millions of borrowers false hope? You've doubted your own authority here in the past.
I didn't give any false hope. The question was whether or not I would do even more than was requested. What I did, I thought was appropriate and was able to be done and would get done. I didn't give borrowers false hope, but the Republicans snatched away the hope that they were given, and it's real hope. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President, why did you give...
It was false hope, Joe. We all knew it was false hope. I said it. We said it. Everybody here said it in 2020 when he made the promise talking about we're going to cancel student loan debt. I knew that was fake. I didn't even really pay no attention. I knew it was not going to happen. You're going to cancel student loan debt? You would never cancel student loan debt. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I mean, you're going to bail out banks, which you shouldn't be doing. You're going to bail out banks, but because the thing about the student loan debt is people went out there and did that voluntarily. It'd be a disaster politically. People did that voluntarily to themselves. Now, I'm not saying it was not predatory in a certain sense because colleges, they don't really like to tell you everything that's going on. Like if you go to college and say, hey, you know what? I want to get a degree in underwater basket weaving. They'll say, all right, cool, go ahead. That'll be $100,000. Pay that right now, 18-year-old college freshman. 100 grand, sign right there. You can get all the money you want. That's kind of predatory in my opinion, but at the end of the day, you're an adult and you did it. So it's unfair to cancel a portion of that where they give the banks these bailouts. That's still unfair as well. But the reason why they give the banks the bailouts is because if the banks don't get bailouts, then the person that works for a living can't get paid. You see, that's how that works. It's still wrong to do, but it is what it is. One is wronger, if that's the word, more wrong than the other. But to move forward here, the promise from the beginning, people bought into it, and that was a way to buy votes. Hey, you know what? I'm Joe Biden. Vote for me. I'm 1,000 years old. I was here with Methuselah before the first man. I was here when the dinosaurs were roaming the earth. I had a pet dinosaur in Delaware. I was here before then, but vote for me because I'm going to eliminate student loan debt. That was the whole thing that he was trying to get across. And people bought into it. People were still asking me. People that I know were asking me, hey, is it going to go through? I said from the beginning, no, it's not going to go through. But people, they had that false hope. And they hung on to it. When they put out their website in 2020, at the end of 2022, pardon me, last year, at the end of 2022, they put out a website. You could apply for student loan debt relief. Over 20 million people signed up in America. 20 million, over 20 million. I think it might have been 23 million that signed up on that website to get student loan debt relief. And it wasn't going to be student loan debt cancellation, which normies think, normies, they don't really understand. They hear student loan debt relief. They think it's going to be a blank slate and they won't be any more calls from the collection agencies, no more payments. There won't be any of that. That was in their mind, although that wasn't going to be the case. They were not going to wipe out all 1.7 trillion of the student loan debt bubble. They were going to try to wipe out 430 billion. And that was going to be the equivalent of $10,000 per eligible borrower, meaning you had to make under a certain kind of money in a certain income range. I think it was below 125 yearly and 254 married couple. And if you had a Pell Grant, you would get 10 grand on top of the 10 grand that you would get normally. So $20,000 for a Pell Grant recipient. Now, can you guys please help me out here? I've not been able to figure this out. why would they give you an extra $10,000 if you get a Pell Grant? Aren't Pell Grants free? You don't pay them back. So why would you get more money if you got a Pell Grant? I don't understand. Like, I don't really get it, because you don't have debt from a Pell Grant, do you? So why would you get $10,000 more dollars? Is that a grift? Is that some kind of child tax credit type situation? What is that? Y'all please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to figure that out. I'd love to figure it out. All right. But we all knew that it wasn't going to happen from the very beginning. It wasn't going to go through. And now here we are. Supreme Court said, nope. We're not doing that. You don't have the power to do that under the HEROES Act from 2003. You don't have that power. You cannot do this. Go back to the drawing board, which it will be no drawing board. You will not have any of the student loan debt relief. Now, some may have been able to get student loan debt relief, but not because of this plan. There are other ways you can get student loan debt relief that have already been on the books for a very long time, but that has nothing to do with the $10,000 or the $20,000. That's something else, totally different. All right. Student loan debt is very hard to get out of. You can't even discharge that through bankruptcy. You can only have bankruptcy discharge student loans if you go to court. You got to prove a bunch of stuff. You can't just say, all right, I'm broke, I can't pay. Nah, you're going to pay. You shall pay, sir. It ain't no getting out of it. It is what it is. All right. It is what it is. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Let me see. Butthead said, I got a Pell Grant spent on food and games. I bet. A lot of that Pell Grant money, you know, it got wasted. It most certainly got wasted. Yeah, I'm trying to see about the Pell Grant thing. Yeah, because if you got a Pell Grant and you applied for student loan debt forgiveness under the Biden plan, you would have gotten $10,000 for like the base relief, and then $10,000 more if you got a Pell Grant, which makes no sense. I don't understand. It's weird. Exactly, CH. $125,000 for a taxpayer, a single taxpayer is not bad. Yeah, $125,000 is a lot of money. But you know what? Here's something else about student loan debt relief. It's unfair because, according to Forbes, I read an article during my video. It said that if you, on a median, which, like I said in my video, if you take all the salaries in America and put them on a sheet of paper from top to bottom, from the highest of the high to the lowest of the low, all salaries in America, and you go right in the middle, that is the closest to true center you're going to get right there. Is going to be close to the true center. If you take an average, meaning all the highest of the high salaries, like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, all these guys, your super wealthy people, you could take the highest of the high and add all the salaries together, include the lowest of the low. Then you divide it by all the salary numbers, you're going to get the average. But that's going to make it be skewed upwards. If you do the median, that'll give you a more accurate middle. So the median for bachelor degree holders to make in their careers is $2.8 million. But for a high school diploma holder only, it's $1.6 million over the whole career. So there's a $1.2 million advantage for bachelor degree holders. So if you have student loan debt, you probably have a higher education, meaning you probably have a bachelor's degree or more. But you're going to earn more than those who don't have that. So you have this debt on your back, which make more money than the high school degree holder on the median. Now, am I saying that that's always the case? No, but that's what it is typically. So why would the person who makes more money typically than someone else get a handout, an advantage, a leg up? while the guy who makes less gets nothing. Actually, the guy who makes less gets hurt by this, because if you're going to print and spend $430 billion, that's going to be inflationary. So when the guy who does not have student loan debt goes to the store, he's got to pay more for everything, more for groceries, more for gas, more for whatever. But he got no financial benefit from the student loan bailout. But the guy who makes money to him got an advantage. He's able to have lower student loan payments, which increases his income. And he already made more than the guy with nothing. Or the guy who makes less, he already made more than him. So it's unfair. It's just totally unfair. Now, some said that, there should be something going on because C-19 and whatnot. Okay, well, how about the guy that makes less than you? If you're a bachelor degree holder and you make 80 grand and you want the student loan debt relief, they're going to print and spend $400 billion to help you out. But the guy who makes 40 grand with a high school diploma working at the gas station, he gets nothing. It's unfair. It's totally unfair. That's part of the reason why it would have been a disaster politically, because of that fact right there. So you just couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Biden knew it. Democrats knew it. Republicans knew it. We all knew it. But normies who want to believe and they have faith in it and they don't think that deeply, all they hear is, I'm going to get my student loan debt canceled. It's all they hear. They may not even be eligible. Doesn't matter. I'll vote for them regardless because of that. Even on some social media platforms, they're talking about this, and I'm explaining this to them, and they don't want to hear it. Oh, man, it's the Republicans. And then, of course, the bait and switch is going to be, well, we didn't get it done, but blame them for it. Meanwhile, he knew the whole time it wasn't going to go through. Anyway, I digress. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. All right. Did we show the Atlanta white guy that was crying because he called the police on my man in the parking lot? Did we show that? I'm not sure if we did. That was crazy. Look, I don't care who you are, black, white, Puerto Rican, Kenny Stripe. If you are causing the problem, you're menacing some kind of way, you're threatening me, I'm calling the police. I don't care. You could be a meemaw, you could be crackhead, you could be whatever, man. Look, hey, I'm not trying to hurt nobody, but you got to get up out of here. You know what I mean? You got to get up out of here. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm going to show a couple videos actually about that. Well, I didn't do it on live. Okay, I'm going to show it now. And then I'm also show a video from, I'm going to show a separate video on Georgia, from Georgia, of a meemaw getting arrested. And there's some kind of anger about that. There's some kind of anger about that, but it shouldn't be. Oh, I got more videos, actually. I got more. I got some that you might enjoy. I got some that are kind of wild. I got a few. Okie dokie. Let's go ahead and start here. Now, I'm going to show the meemaw. Then I'm going to show your man crying. All right, let's do it. Now, this lady got to be 70-something years old out here protesting in Atlanta.
Home Depot did not want you here. I did not get told anything of the sort, or else I wouldn't be doing this, ma'am.
So she's at Home Depot, and they got told to not be there, but now they're getting arrested because they're trespassing out here protesting. Now, I think these are the people that are protesting the cop village or whatever. It's like a training facility out there in Georgia, in the Atlanta Metro, in DeKalb County. They're protesting that. Now, she is part of the people, the Antifa community that's out there. So it's like, hey, man, you got to go. You got to get up out of here. Some of her comrades, some of her friends are the ones that are attacking police, burning things down or whatever. So, hey, man, get you out of here.
I did not get told.
Oh, man, my mixer messing up. Are you hearing the Borgen? Okay, give me 1 second. We're going to fix that.
We're having our free speech request. This is a boycott. Stop Cop City. Divest from ABL.
I was not told this. You hear yes, me? I did tell you. No, you didn't, ma'am. I did not hear a thing you said if you said something like that. Really?
Hey, man, look, I don't care who you are. You black, white, young, old, breaking the law, it's got to go. They're treating her right. They ain't manhandling her. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, Meemaw, let's go. You want to be out here? You want to be an Antifa supporter? All right, let's go. Grand Tifa is crazy. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. All right, so that's that. Now on to the next story from Georgia. This right here. This is in, where is this at? This is in Doraville, out there by close to Gwinnett, but it's in DeKalb, I think. Yeah.
Arrested and charged with simple assault and terroristic threats. Following his arrest, he was transported to the DeKalb County Jail.
Let's go to the squad car, please.
Why is it happening? I'm being arrested?
Yes.
For what?
For what?
I'll be with you. Just 1 second.
Are you arrested?
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to see what's wrong.
But still, I will need for you to fill out a statement form.
I don't want him arrested. I just want him to leave us alone.
I know, but he had a weapon on him, and it was terrorist threats.
Brandishing is not a crime with a knife. Brandishing is only a crime for a gun.
Terroristic threats, though, sorry.
Because he said die to me and had his knife out?
All that was done. The threats, everything. Let me get a statement.
I thought you were going to arrest him. I wouldn't call. I just wanted to leave us alone.
I understand, but we still have a job to do.
Now he's gonna think I'm doing this because I'm white and he's black, or he's homeless and I'm not. I don't want that.
But did he do what he did?
Yeah, but I don't want him thinking I did it because he's in whatever situation he's in. I just want him to leave us alone.
I doubt that.
Shout out to the police out there in Doraville, in DeKalb County. Shout out to you guys, as I know the lady that was talking to the guy was trying her best to keep her composure and not bust out laughing. I heard her in the voice. I heard it. She did an amazing job, though. Very professional, very calm, cool, and collected. Hey, you did perfect. Shout out to you and everybody out there. So let's get a little background, shall we? So the story is that at this park out there in Doraville, this guy right here is out there with his wife and his kids, hanging out, having a good time. His kids go to the playground, and then there's a black homeless guy over there trying to sleep, I suppose. They disturb him, wake him up. He wakes up, starts making threats at them. And he pulls out a knife and does it. So the white guy who's on camera crying right here calls the police. Now, when the police show up, they arrest him because, okay, making terrorist threats, he had a knife. What are we going to do? We gotta get him out of here. You can't just say, now, loud, leave him alone. Leave that nice white family alone, Mr. Black Man. It's like, nah, come on, sir. You got a knife, making terrorist threats. I mean, let's go. I don't care what color you are or nothing. You know, your race is irrelevant. You doing the wrong thing, you got to go. But he gets scared because it might be some kind of black and white thing. But it's like, sir, you called the police. You have other options. You could have sat there and fought this guy for some reason, which you shouldn't do, obviously. Or y'all could just go ahead and roll out, go ahead and leave. But you called the police. So the police are here. Now you got to deal with it. Don't cry now. You know what I mean? And now you were scared of going viral. You went viral for the wrong reason. You've gone viral for the wrong reason. Now, to be fair, the homeless guy said that he was the one that was the victim. He said that they started screaming at him, but I doubt it. But that's what he said, though, just to give both sides of the story. All right. Yeah, the man bun is crucial. The man bun is crucial. But yeah, man, don't be guilty. If somebody's out there doing wrong, you call the police, stand on it. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't put your hands on nobody. Nah. It is what it is. And the crazy part is that we're talking about, oh, and you know what? You're right, 007 girl. You're totally right. She says he's wearing a defund the police shirt the next day. Exactly. These be the same guys right here that'll be in my DMs calling me the N-word because I'm a conservative. Oh yeah, that's how they be. That's the guy right there. Your man bun wearer, your male Karen type guy. These be the guys that will call. They call themselves liberals. They would call you all types of racial slurs. I've seen these guys. I used to be in the Facebook group with guys like this to kind of pick their brain. I was doing an experiment. They call you all types of N-words, everything. If they feel like they won't get caught and nobody's gonna know who they are, it's in private, they'll say all kind of crazy stuff. But then when it happens in public and now we got body camera, now I'm gonna start crying because he thought that he could do it and nobody would find out. That's what happened here. So I don't feel for this guy. Cry me a river. Cry me a whole river. You probably be the same kind of guy that would go to Cop City and protest and burn up stuff and tear things down and loot and shoot and carry on. You are probably part of Black Lives Matter, Greater Atlanta Metro Region. That's the kind of guy that I see. I know that type. Shout out to all the real people out there that aren't ridiculous like him. We're not going to start crying and everything else when they get caught doing a thing that they did themselves. That's like when your mom catches you in the refrigerator eating some cookies or something. You weren't supposed to be doing it. You start crying. It's like, don't cry now. You did it. You did it. Now, I have another video for you guys. And then super chats and then the calls. Now, I'm not sure where this is, but I think it's some kind of climate protest. They're spraying orange paint. They're spraying orange paint on windows. My man right here, I don't know where he came from. I don't know what happened. My man is in business casual attire. Hear me clearly. Business casual, office attire, water cooler attire with a pressure washer, a power washer, washing the paint off the windows. Okay? He is making it happen. This little hashtag right here they have up, it says Students Against EA Cop. I have no idea what that is. I think they are environmentalists, but I could be wrong. But my man right here got the power washer, pressure washer, and making it happen in business casual. Look, if a guy runs up on you in business casual with a pressure washer, leave him be. Look, if you see that right there, go the other direction. Now, unfortunately, the miscreants didn't really get sprayed that much. Well, they got a little bit wet, but not really. You got to have the pink hair. Why is there always like a signal? Different kind of hair colors. Shout out to all the people that wear different kind of hair colors that aren't liberal. It's like a stereotype, right? It's like you got a head full of pink hair, automatic Antifa. Okay, so Michael says EA Cop, East African crude oil pipeline. So they're getting wet. They're definitely getting wet toward the end right there. I wanted to see a full-on like spray down, like civil rights, water hose type situation. You know what I mean? I want to see something like that going on from my man in the business casual with the Ray-Bans making it happen. You see a guy like that out in front of you, just go ahead and if I would went home, because at that point I know my life is in danger. I am in danger. All right. So shout out to my man for that. And I think that might be it. One more video for you guys. Then I get to the calls and super chats. Remember Russian Brook Youth Choir that got banned from the U.S. Capitol because they were singing patriotic songs? Well, of course, Trump brought them out to the rally in South Carolina, if you guys didn't see it. Shout out to them. Shout out to Trump for doing the obvious thing. I believe they're from South Carolina. So it's like, of course, we're going to be in your home state. We'll bring you out on stage. We'll have you sing because you were not permitted to at the U.S. Capitol. So shout out to them. All right. And shout out to Trump for making it happen. But if you like what you've seen so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. All righty. We got super chats on deck. I'm going to get to those right quick. Then we're going to get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Thank you to Nick Coriel, who says, hello, my dear friend. Nothing like sitting back with a cigar and a glass of whiskey, listening to some ABL live. I appreciate you for that, man. Thank you, Michael Crislow, who says, hope you enjoyed some craft beer at the brewery. I don't even really drink beer. So I didn't have any. And then, I mean, I have drank beer before, but I wanted to be sober, I suppose, when I was speaking. So that's all that was. But next time I go, I'm going to have some. Even though I don't drink beer. But I've actually been there before to that place. Because at the brewery, it's like a little mall right there. It's kind of hard to explain. There's other shops in there. Like if you go into like the place, it's a Thai food spot. The Thai food is amazing. I'm going to go back there soon, for sure. Thank you to Tammy F for your super chat. Thank you to Michael Critchlow, who says, are we going to address the Erica Marsh tweet? Yeah, so Erica Marsh, I think that's a troll account on Twitter talking about blacks can't make it if not for affirmative action. I think it's a troll account. I'm pretty sure it is. It's a pretty clever troll and parody account, but I don't think it's real. It's not a real person. Thank you to F Ranger Xbox, who says, my brother feeds a family of 4 every time he eats. Thank you to Boomhauer, who says, missing the show tonight to see Kid Rock. Love meeting you this week. Great speech and fantastic time hanging out with you. You're one in a million. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate you. Definitely enjoyed meeting you, man. It was definitely a night to remember. I really, really enjoyed myself out there in Nashville, and I will be back. Thank you to Viking 4848 for the donation. Rebel Without a Reason says ESPN employees being fired after getting the jab to keep their job as peak 2023. Exactly. Also, he says, what about Joe Biden and that CPAP machine? I told them to check on that cough. Oh, yeah. You told me that when I met you in Nashville about the CPAP. I hadn't even seen the thing. Because you were talking about how there was like a visible like mark or something. I can't really find that. Oh, yeah. Here we go. I see it. All right, let's check it right here. So you guys, hopefully you should be able to see it. But Biden wears a CPAP machine when he sleeps. You know what that is. Like if you got sleep apnea or some kind of breathing disorder when you're sleeping, it helps you breathe. You strap it on your face. It's a mask or whatever. It helps you breathe. All right. Now, apparently, this is a picture of Joe with the CPAP mark on his face. So if the mark is that pronounced, and it's during the day, see it right there, right up under his ear, right to his mouth. If it's that pronounced during the day, the question is, how long are you wearing it? Are you wearing it all night and then taking it off in the morning? Are you wearing it throughout the day until you go out, talk to people? How long is this machine being worn? How strong is it? Like, what's going on? Life support, I don't know what that is. Cryo chamber, what's happening? But yeah, that's pretty crazy. All right. And thank you to Rita's Lover, who says, hey, ABL, keep up the great news info. Appreciate you for that. The writer says, I think uncensored sports online podcasts taking over. Marcellus Wiley, etc. Sports shows are much better uncut and are crushing mainstream. Of course, absolutely, because we want we want more male-centered stuff, not so much of this weird feminist type things. It doesn't make any sense for sports. You know, it makes no sense. Thank you to Neva, who says, ABL, heart, check out my sis, buy the book, Bree, Italy. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you to Santo Bartes, who says, all the money dumped into the Baltimore school system and they're putting out students with a 0.0 GPA shows that broken schools need more than money to fix them. It starts with these broken families. Correct. Thank you to Lothair, who says, Wish me luck, ABL. You and my friend are going ghost hunting in Waverly Hills and Louisville. Loving the show, man. Hey, good luck on that. Shout out to Ghostbusters out there. They get to buy the book, who says, Mike Drop, appreciate you for that. They get a Toon She, who says, the most successful black people in America are the ones who just arrived here because we didn't live here long enough to believe we are oppressed. Very well said. They get to the writer, who says, what is your opinion on France riots that media is ignoring? Muslims and Africans they let in are destroying various cities. I've been watching it a little bit, but not really. I need to kind of look more into it. They get to buy the book, who says, hi, ABL. Shout out to my sis Neva in the chat and daughter Bree listening in Italy. We are fan of conservatives and love your show. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. Hopefully I got your name right, Neva or Neva. Hopefully I said it right. But shout out to y'all for watching from Italy. Rebel Without a Reason says, hashtag Rex Diaper, hashtag False Hope. And for Ranger Xbox says, animals in nature use bright and vibrant colors to display how toxic they are. There you go. Speaking about the pink hair at the orange paint protest. Rebel Without a Reason says, next time you come back to Nashville, bring that merch table. I got you, boss, for sure. All righty. You guys on the number. You guys on the drill. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let me go ahead and get Skype cracking, up and rolling. There's also an email for Skype in the description box. If it doesn't work right, don't blame me. Blame the white man. All righty. Y'all know what's going on. Oh, and also, happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July. If I don't see you again, well, yeah, my next show will be on Wednesday after. So, happy Independence Day. What I'm hearing right now, I forgot. I was hearing noises. I'm like, am I having some issues in my house? Like, what's going on? I'm hearing fireworks. So I almost forgot about 4th of July. So the fireworks are already fireworking right now as we speak. Let me go ahead and get my sound together. Y'all please hang tight. All right, there we go. There we have it. 859, you're online, I'm speaking to.
Yo, ABL, how's it going? I'm in Louisville right now. The Lucifer Libertarian, your close friend, going ghost hunting right now. And about like 11:30, I'm heading over there. I just wanted to call in to say what's up with you, bro.
It's all good, man. Just hanging in there, having a good time on the show.
Hell yeah. Heck yeah, man. I'm going to Waverly. And by the way, me and my friend Joel have been watching it about the college admission and stuff like that. These politicians, man, that, you know, this whole affirmative action, it's silly. If I went to a college and they only got me because I'm bi, that's kind of silly, you know. That doesn't make any sense. Like, what does my sexuality have to do with my qualifications going to a college? That seems nonsensical.
I'm with you, man. It should be about your academic performance. You know, like, are you smart? Like, what do you know?
Absolutely, yeah. And guess what? The working class, people who are like working class like I am, and there are people over there that had to fit for the bill for these rich kids who had, you know, got family in college. And what they don't realize is that it's just bourgeoisie kind of like classism. And it's like, oh, we can have free college. Yeah, free college for only the rich kids who got up in the first on the list. It's favoritism. It always will be. It's a reality.
Right on. Absolutely.
And then they will take somebody who's a minority and put them in college, and they don't do so well because the skill set, because they have a quota to put somebody in Harvard or Yale or something like that, and they're not qualified for it, and they're going to struggle a whole lot more. It's just crazy. It's like, it seems like they set these people up for failure, and it's lunacy. And it happens time after time again. It fails. It's insanity. You want to say anything, Joel? He's shaking his head. No, he's just chilling out. Hey, man, wish me luck, bro. I love the show, man. I'll talk to you later, bro.
Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, much love, man. See you, bro.
All right, now. All right, shout out to my man for the call out there in Louisville about the ghost hunting. Ghostbusters. All right, I'm with it. Get you one of the little ectoplasma chambers. Take one back to you. Put it on your wall like a deer head. 304 on line. I'm speaking to.
All right, now. Hey, ABL. It's Derek the Mountain Dog, your favorite Georgia, West Virginia boy.
All right, man.
How you doing, man?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Hey, man. I wanted to talk about the student loan debt thing being shut down. Well, not necessarily it being shut down, but just the fact of the whole point. That was one of his biggest things to get people to vote for him. They were like, oh, we're gonna get all our debt relieved. We're gonna get free college. I went to college when I graduated in 2004, and I actually had a GPA high enough to where I got the Hope Scholarship in Georgia. And I know all states don't have the Hope Scholarship, but after I lost my Hope Scholarship because my GPA dropped below a 3.0, I ended up getting Pell Grant. But the Pell Grant you don't have to pay back, nor do you have to pay back the Hope Scholarship. But I ended up taking out some other loans. I didn't rack up a bunch of debt for college, but I paid all that back. So just suppose that bill went through, would I get reimbursed for the debt that I paid back?
Nope, not at all.
And as far as everybody else that went to college way before me, will they get reimbursed for all their student loans they paid?
Nope, not at all.
I mean, I understand that's like a long shot, but I mean, if you think about it, and do you know the girl that has the channel called Liberty Hangout? Her name's Caitlin.
Yes.
She's on the streets. Have you seen the video of her where she goes to the Pride Parade? Pretty recent, like a couple of days ago.
I've not seen that.
You should check that out. There's another video of her. I'm not trying to promote her channel by any means, but I just watched two today, and one, she was just going around asking people, what has Biden done? And the only thing that one fella said, that the only person that she could find that could say anything that he done was, I got 2 years of free college, but little does he know he didn't. He got promised that, but he didn't get it.
Right.
But other than that, that video, I just seen it, but that those people painting the windows, and that guy comes out with the pressure washer. They just go and sit down Indian style in the paint while this guy washes the paint off the windows. Like that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
It was crazy.
And then they're gonna complain whenever they get wet, right? Like he assaulted them or something. I sort of imagine they were going after.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, that's all I got for you tonight, brother.
Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate you.
All right, later.
All right, great call. The thing with the pressure washer is like my man was in business casual, like a pair of Doc Martens just out there chilling. 860, you're allowing who am I speaking to?
Hey, Bill, it's up in A Ranger Xbox. How you doing, brother?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Well, I do know a little bit about the Pell Grant because when I went to the National Aviation Academy, I applied for one and I was denied because I didn't sign up for selective service. And I'm like, didn't sign up for selective service? What are you talking about? I got honorable discharge after 4 years in the Army. So I joined the Army in 1979. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In 1980, our government, in their infinite wisdom, said everybody born 1960 and up will sign up for selective service, no exceptions. But magically, Barack Obama never had to show that paperwork to run for president or senator or any of that stuff. But I did. So I called my senator, who was a Democrat, but he was also in charge of the House Ways and Means Committee for the military budget down there in Florida.
Right.
And I said, can you explain to me how I could join the Army in 1979, get out in 1983, honorable discharge, 3 years on the Iron Curtain, And I can't get a Pell Grant because I did not sign up for selective service because I was already in the military a year after, for a whole year before you ever implemented that law. I ended up getting a Pell Grant later on after they did some investigating and they had to touch up the law a little bit because they found out they did this to 79,000 men. Now, sexual discrimination is real critical because it only applies to women unless it's domestic violence or the government. Then it only applies to men. But, everybody talks about Bernie Sanders and college would be free and all this crap. Well, his wife bankrupted a college, and his stepdaughter was bilking students out of their student loan money by getting them into the underwater lesbian basket weaving classes and stuff like that. And nobody talks about that. And Bernie always folds because he knows that he's good enough to get up there and grift for money. But if he was put in the spot of being the commander-in-chief, he'd fold.
That's right.
Just an origami tiger. Nothing there. All these people say, well, free college, nothing's free. And how much is free worth? You get a free toy with a Happy Meal at McDonald's. I don't see you rushing off to buy 1,000 of them.
That's right.
But, nobody's talking about that young black man that got, $10 million of scholarship offers because he had a 5.0? I'm sorry, I got to go on a rant right now. For the person in the chat that said, I know everything, you're absolutely right. I do know everything. I got something coming into me now. I'm going to go with ABL's favorite drink is coconut water. Was I right?
Hey, you're right. You're right on the mark, boss.
You know how I know that? Because I remember you saying that multiple times over the past 2.5 years that your favorite drink is coconut water. And I've been trying to get me some because I love coconut water too. So to the person in the chat says, I know everything. I don't know. If I don't know something and I want to learn about it, I type into Google, I want to learn about this. And here's what I found out about black people. George Washington Carver was born a slave. He was taught to read by a white woman who would have been put to death for teaching him how to read when he was a baby. That man, after the Civil War, the South was decimated. The land was destroyed because cotton sucks all the nutrients out of the soil. But George Washington Carver, at this time, highly educated, Civil War's over, he's allowed to come out and say, hey, I know how to read and write. And he became a college professor and a researcher. And he told the farmers of the South, plant peanuts. I will discover uses for it. And he did. He discovered over 312 uses for the peanut, and he did not discover peanut butter. But and the diesel engine was originally designed to run on peanut oil. So you can research. You can ask a question. Who invented the first successful fire hood? Oh, that was a black man at the turn of the century, and he actually used it to rescue some miners that were trapped in a mine fire. I know this because I learned how to read these things called books. They're full of information. Same man, also being black, I know it was a hell of a handicap for him, but somehow he invented the traffic light too. This is all part of the, what's going on in Europe and what they're doing right now. George Soros has opened borders. He's doing this for the World Economic Forum. They're trying to exterminate as many white people as they can. And once they get that done, remember what I said about genetic specific viruses a couple of years ago? At the beginning of the pandemic, they were collecting the DNA. That's why they were given the DNA or the virus test kits. They were doing that deep dive swab into your sinuses. But that they were collecting DNA for the Chinese, because where was the virus done? Anthony Fauci gave the money through EcoHealth Alliance through Peter Daszak. How do I know this? Because I researched it. And to the person in the comments a couple of weeks ago that called me a know-it-all, it's because I know how to read, bud, and I don't drink and I don't use drugs. I'm not even on cholesterol medication. Yeah, I know you got to go.
Right? Yeah.
I'm done. That's my rant. God bless ABL. Thank you.
Thank you for the call.
You have a good night.
All right,
Happy 4th of July.
Same to you.
Bye.
All right. Shout out to my man for the call. Yeah, the comments, don't even read them, because you get caught up in reading the comments. That's all you're ever going to do. You know, a lot of people, they try to start YouTube sometimes, and they talk to me, and then they talk to me for like a half hour about one comment. It's like, you're not going to, if that's like in your mind, you're never going to be able to do anything. But shout out to you guys for being here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. Could not do the show without you. All right. I got a little issue with Skype here. Let me go ahead and just restart. Let me restart right quick, and then we'll get back rocking and rolling. Yeah, Skype is like, it's like my enemy, my worst enemy, and my best tool. It'll work properly, and then it won't work properly. So let's just keep on rocking. And there's also a number or an email in the description box if you want to get in through Skype that way. 504 online, who am I speaking to? Hold on one second. Give me a second here, boss. I got to tighten up my stuff. Okay. Can you hear me? All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I got you. What's going on?
All right. So I like the show. Everything's going well. I like everything. So I have some things to talk about. So I remember you were talking about the colleges earlier. And do you think it's possible that maybe some of the black students, they don't study as much as the other ones?
What are you talking about, like in college?
In school in general, also.
Well, studying, I'm like, that's not even what I was talking about earlier, is not being prepared from a young age. So it doesn't even really matter. Like, if on average, most black kids go to kindergarten with no skills, they're already behind. So you can't really make that up. You might be able to, but you got to go really hard and go harder than anybody else, because you're already at disadvantage. So put it to you this way. If you go to kindergarten, okay, you know, you're 5 years old and you know how to count to 10, count to 100, count to 1,000. You know how to spell your name, how to color in the lines, how to read a little bit. You have some skills, how to tie your shoe, all that kind of stuff. You have some skills to where you could be semi-independent. But if you go to school and don't have any of that, you are always going to be behind. It doesn't really matter how much you study. You could try to close the gap as much as you can, but you're always going to be behind. And that is the general problem that I see. That's what I know from my parents that were, my grandparents, pardon me, that were teachers. That's what they told me. It's like, it's lack of preparation from an early age.
Okay. And because I know you have some, relatives that were teachers and stuff, as you said. Yeah, because I, grew up in the black area, and although I went to a white school, an area where there was more white people for some reason. But so basically, my neighborhood is still black. And yeah, because I knew some people that they had parents that were teachers and people that were like you, and they were different than some other black people that I saw. And yeah, because probably, and I think that makes sense, from a young age, they're not taught basic things like that. And then as they grow older, they weren't given that foundation. And that's why the blacks may perform lower than some of the other people.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, but really it's the early education.
Okay. And yeah, and also I know about the food, because I've seen like the black people with the food is a little bit different. And I do think what someone eats, I think that could contribute to the body weight and stuff like that. And it's good, people could use that and work out but not everybody works out. Some people just put on the weight and they don't like do something with it, like we've seen in the with different groups and stuff.
Yeah, really, it's just at the end of the day, when we're talking about obesity, like being overweight, being obese, it just comes from eating too many calories and not being able to burn them off. And that's just what it is. If you're not using your calories, they're going to get stored as fat, and it's going to accumulate over time, and it's going to cause obesity, overweight, just not being in shape in general.
Right. And yeah, I remember also you're talking about the colleges with the student loans. And yeah, I think it was totally Biden was giving false hope to the people, because I don't think that they would have like control over that, and I don't think that would work out. Really, as it obviously it didn't work out, and he can't. I don't think it's a Republican's fault. I just think that thing would be absurd, and it wouldn't really work. And they would have to. Because I know a lot of people like they can't find a job and stuff. Now, I didn't do college. I did some other stuff that worked better for me, but I do think that, in my opinion, college isn't the only way. But if they do that, they need to be aware of what they have to do to pay it back, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. There should be some kind of courses like in school, K through 12, like once you get ready to go to college, like a college prep course that teaches you that kind of stuff. And then once you go to college, you're speaking to an advisor, your advisor should kind of be maybe not necessarily like a financial advisor, because it's going to be kind of biased. If you have a financial advisor that's actually at the school, they're going to say things that benefit the school. But it should be some kind of awareness about what you're getting yourself into, because a lot of these kids have no idea. They just kind of sign on a dotted line, and then before they know it, it's 4 years later, they have a degree in underwater basket weaving, and it costs $80,000, and they can't pay it back. Right. And the payments are so expensive, they can't afford to leave their house, and they can't do anything. It's a mess.
Yeah, and yeah, I think in school in general, they have good things in school, but I do think that they can teach people more things like about financing and taxes, how to do taxes and different stuff like that. And, I do think that there does need to be a change with that, along with the other things that they teach, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Right. And also, I want to say something from last time briefly about the submersibles. So, yeah, it basically, it caved in from the pressure. And in my opinion, although I'm an enthusiast with these things since I was young, I do think that it's good to explore. That's fine to explore and take risks, but the thing wasn't constructed right, and the experts and the people were saying it was not constructed correctly, and I think it was an unnecessary loss of life, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think there was a lot of shortcuts taken, unnecessary things that were done that prevented, like that did not prevent a tragedy, unfortunately.
Right. The Kruger-Dunning effect, it's when they're high on the scale, they can't see in an area that they're not that familiar with. Like Rush was good with like aviation and things like that, but with the submersibles, he wasn't really that familiar with, and he was like being not that bright. He was high on that scale where he wasn't that bright with that, because like James Cameron and the people, they had these tight little spherical compartments that they were in, kind of like built like a UFO. And the thing the other guy had, it was too spacious, and he was trying to save money, make a lot of money, and he got so diluted by it. And with the 7-inch thick, that's how thick the window was. It wasn't 9 inches thick like it's supposed to be. It was just a giant recipe for disaster. And he probably didn't want the older white guys there, because they would have told him how the whole thing was not built right. That's something that I think.
That's a good point there. Absolutely. It's cutting corners all the way around. And you can't do stuff like that when you're talking about going down 12,500 feet. You want to be as safe as possible.
Exactly. All right. That's all I have to say for this call. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Goodbye.
All right. Shout out to my man for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. If you guys like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Who am I speaking to? 372, you're on the line.
Hey, Anthony. How you doing? It's Paul from China.
All right, man. What's going on?
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. I'm glad I got through.
Right on.
Yeah, two quick things. I'm gonna let you go. One, I just want to clarify a misunderstanding about these pepper stones.
Okay.
It really blew up on social media, and You did a video about it. Other people was talking about it, and it does look funny, and maybe it is funny. But one, there's no food crisis here. It has nothing to do with that. This pepper stones thing, second the pepper stones. One, it's not a nationwide cultural thing. It's really limited to one province, and this province is called Hubei, Hubei, Hubei province. It's kind of in the middle of the country, but a little bit more east, and it's sort of their thing, and it goes back centuries. And Hubei has a reputation for having the spiciest food in the country. And talking to some of my Chinese colleagues at my school, basically it's a way for them to enjoy peppers, like the red peppers and the green peppers and so forth, without actually eating the pepper. I guess the stones give the peppers a certain kind of taste. But yeah, that's what that is. And I can't really go into too much detail about it because I've never done it. I've never seen it.
Right.
I've never been to Hubei, seen it. But yeah, man, the supermarkets are full, the restaurants are full, everybody's stomach is on full. There's no food shortage here. That's just something that's unique to a particular province, and it's not a new thing. It goes back centuries for that particular province.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, the second thing I wanted to actually to talk about real quickly is the affirmative action being banned at the schools. I'm happy about it. I think it's going to demonstrate how we can, when I say we, I mean the Black community, how we can compete on a strictly merit-based system. And I think our numbers at the elite institutions will decrease, but we'll still have a presence there, and that presence won't be a bottom of the barrel presence, kind of what you see now with a lot of blacks at these Yale and Princeton and Brown and Dartmouth, but graduating at the bottom of their class. I think the presence that we do have there will be, a more legitimate presence. But real quick, I'll let you go. What I noticed across, maybe not, I should say across the Black America, but I'll speak for like my bubble, friends, family, and so forth, is the reason we don't have a stronger presence at elite institutions is because of what I see is sort of a academic lethargy. Let me give you a quick example of my own family. Like I have an older sister. I love my sister, but she's a really good example of this. So we were raised by a single mother, and our mother, she didn't go to college. She was poorly educated, so she was limited in what she could offer us. We didn't grow up going to museums. We didn't grow up learning about Einstein or whatever. Most of what she had to offer us was the Bible stories, and we were in church 3-4 days a week. And she gave us a lot of church stuff. We were both the first generation in our family to go to college, and my sister even went on and got a master's degree. But her oldest child, my nephew, he's in his early 20s now. He didn't go to college at all, and I was really shocked. I'm like, how does mom not go to college? You go to college and get a master's degree, but your son doesn't go to college at all. How do we go up and then back down again? And I see that across a lot of my bubble. I'm not gonna say Black America, but my bubble is that you have blacks that have an education that maybe it's not an elite education, but they did go to university. Some of them went on to get a master's degree, but their kids are not MIT bound. Their kids are not, Oxford University, Cambridge University. The kids are not bound for that. And I don't understand where this academic lethargy comes from. I don't have any children, but if I did have any children, if I do have children, I want them doing calculus in the 4th grade.
Yeah.
That's the kind of parent I would be. Why do you think that so many Black parents go to college, even maybe get a master's degree, but still are academically lethargic with their kids?
Because I think they're focused on themselves trying to get to a certain place, but they don't understand that they have to do the same. They have to raise their children a certain way to get to where they were. Like a lot of us, it kind of, we weren't raised like that. We just happened to find ourselves in a place to where we could get to college, and we kind of like we're self-motivated and not by our parents. That's kind of how it'll work. A lot of times your dad's not in the house, or if your dad's in the house, he's at work, your mom's at work, you're raising yourself. So it's a lot of self-motivated things. So we may understand how to go to school and get grades and go to college and get grades and succeed, but we don't understand how to raise children because we weren't raised properly. So unless the kids are self-motivated, they're not going to succeed. So that's kind of how that works.
Yeah. One last thing, man. I'll let you go. I know you got a lot of people want to talk to you, and I don't want to hold you up. I really have a lot of admiration for the Asian community, and Asia it's a very diverse community. When I say that, I'm largely talking about Indian Americans and Chinese Americans. Those are the two groups that I really zero in on when I say the Asian community. But it's a very diverse community. Their parents have a mentality of, I want my child in Dartmouth, I want my child in Brown, I want my child to go to MIT, and they condition their kids for that. Not everybody, of course. Of course, Indian Americans, they got their criminals, they got their drug addicts. There's diversity in every community. I'm not saying that Chinese Americans are all Python programmers and Indian Americans are all doctors. Every community has diversity, but you see more. I think you see more of an elite institution focus with those parents. And how do we? What do you think needs to be done in our community to have more of a focus on elite institutions? And just real quick, I told my sister that she has two twins now. She has my oldest nephew, he's in his 20s, but she had two twins. They're like in the first grade. In the fall, they start second grade. And I told her, I was like, affirmative action is not going to help them anymore. If they're going to go to MIT, if they're going to go to Brown, it starts now. It doesn't start 10 years from now. It starts now. And we had we messaged over Facebook. We had a little back and forth about it, but I don't think she's on the same page I'm on. She still kind of thinks that she'll do with them what she did with my nephew. Kind of let the public school educate him while she does whatever, and they'll graduate and maybe they'll go to university. But if you limit your child to the public school system, they're not going to Dartmouth. They're not going to Brown. The public school system only do so much. If they're going to go to Oxford, Cambridge, MIT, University of Tokyo, whatever, it's going to be from home. And a lot of black parents just don't. The Asian parents seem to have that. They don't limit their kids to just what they get at school. Their kids get it at school, and their kids get it at home as well. But a lot of black parents, just like even black parents with a master's degree, we still have this attitude of, okay, I'll let the school take care of you, and when you come home, I'll just make sure you're taken care of as far as, a roof over your head and food on the table. But there's no physics books at home. There's no chemistry at home. There's no Isaac Newton, Einstein at home. That kind of thing. How do we get to where? How do we get in our community what the Asians have in their community?
Well, the short answer is you can't have any of the safeguards. You can't have public school that's free. You can't have any kind of welfare system. You can't have any kind of, because a lot of the parents that rely on really driving it home that the kids got to be somebody, their culture, they don't have that. Like Nigeria, school's not free. China, I mean, you come from different kind of cultures where the things that we take for granted, they don't have. They don't have it. So there's no other choice but to strive for excellence, because if you don't strive for excellence, the choice is going to be poverty, and the poverty in America is nowhere near as bad as it is over there. Poverty over there means you might not eat at all. You might starve to death. Poverty over here means you're going to be 800 pounds because you got a lot of food everywhere. So it's different. So it's just, unless we get to the point of not having the safety net, not having all these things, like you said, it's talking about going to public school. If that wasn't there, then it's like, okay, now you got to be serious because you're going to take it. You paying money, you're invested into it. You be truly invested into it rather than just say, okay, go to school and that's it. But thank you for your call, man. I got to get to a few more. I appreciate you.
Okay, next time.
Right on. That was a good call and a good question. But yeah, if you have public K through 12 and it's quote unquote free, although it's not free, you're paying with your taxes, but you're not paying out of your actual money. You're not paying taxes and school on top of that. But it's just like the principle of renting versus owning. Sometimes if you rent an apartment and it don't cost you no money, it's government subsidized or whatever, you may treat it kind of poorly. But if you're paying $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 grand a month, it's going to make a difference at that point because you are invested into it. You see what I'm saying? If you're a homeowner versus a renter, a lot of times you treat it better. Sometimes you're going to treat it the same, but a lot of times you're going to treat it better because this is yours. This is your investment. You got to make sure that everything's going right. You can't just let stuff happen to it. That's kind of the difference. All right. 425 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. This is Krista. How are you?
Oh, well, how about yourself?
Good, thanks. Just wanted to get your opinion on people who are on Section 8. What do you think about that whole program?
That's a good question. The program, I'm not sure if it's a program that is exploited sometimes by the people that are the tenants and also the homeowners, because the homeowners benefit because they're getting paid from the government primarily, if not 100%. And then sometimes the tenants, just like what I was saying just now, sometimes the tenants don't necessarily take care of the place where they live because they're not really invested into it. So if it works well where the tenants are good and the landlords are good, then it can be okay temporarily. I think there should be a limit on that. It shouldn't be a constant thing. If, there was a job loss or somebody died or homelessness, whatever, it should be for a certain period of time until you get on your feet, and then you should be able to move forward.
I agree with that. I completely agree with everything you just said. But I know some people who are on Section 8 are criticized for being on the program because everyone else just assumes that they're living off the government and getting all these handouts, when in fact, a lot of these people in Section 8 need the program because they're not able to work, whether it's for disabilities that are permanent, mental disorders that'll never go away, just different reasons that they're not able to work ever again. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
And then they're just sort of in a situation where they just can't work with people. What do you think a person's options are on that end who is in that type of situation?
Well, I'm not really sure, but I think the people that may look at those that abuse it, that happens too. Both can be true. You have those that you have people that actually need assistance, people that are not able-bodied. I think the criticism comes from those who are able-bodied and refuse.
Well, they are.
Wait a minute.
They are.
Wait a minute.
They're able-bodied.
Ma'am, wait a minute. I think those that are able-bodied and can work, it's like people just sit on the program and do nothing. Those are the ones that get criticized. Now, if you have an issue where you can't work, you're not really able-bodied. Like if you have a mental disorder and you're not able to work, you got like an actual clinical diagnosis, I don't consider that to be able-bodied. Able-bodied, in my opinion, is you're not physically disabled, mentally disabled, you're of a certain age, you can go out there and work and you refuse to work and you just want to sit on the program. That is a problem where it gets abused. But those who actually need it, seriously need it, that's something different. I'm not the person that says we should eliminate government assistance for those who need it. My issue is those who do not need it and abuse it. I think that is the problem with most people have with the programs.
But how do you differentiate? I know that a lot of conservatives disagree with the whole Section 8 program and government assistance, but how do you differentiate people who need it and others who don't? take away the program and it'll hurt those people who do need it? I mean, how do you come to terms with or put that together, make sense of that?
Well, if you have a mental disorder, that can be diagnosed by a doctor. Okay, so we can look at that. We can look at a diagnosis from a doctor. It says, okay, this person has this, that, and the third. Physical disability, the same thing. You go to the hospital, doctor, you get treated, you're on medication, whatever it is, we can determine it that way. If you're over a certain age, if you're obviously in the wheelchair, there's some things that we can look at that can clearly denote whether you need to be here and you have a serious disability or you're just milking the system.
What do you think some other options are for people who can't work, who have those mental disorders and just can't really work with other people like most people can? Like, what do you think some other options are for them as far as working?
I'm not really sure because it depends. It depends on the situation. Like some people have disabilities, but they can work. Just like people with Down syndrome, some of them can work. You know, I know some of them that work in the local grocery store and they do just fine. It depends on what the person's issue is. It depends on their age. It depends on their range of motion. It depends on a few factors. I can't necessarily say one thing that will apply to all those who have disabilities.
I know there are some people out there who really just literally seriously don't have the ability to be around people, whether it's like social anxiety. And some people have mental disorders like antisocial personality disorder. And those are the kids, you know, that you hear about, they're torturing animals and all that, because it's a sort of they develop this protection mechanism when they're young because they're abused or for whatever other reason. And when they grow up with that antisocial personality disorder, it prevents them from, it sort of blocks them from developing interpersonal relationships with people, regular social relationships, romantic relationships, and especially intimacy. That's just out the window. And I've spoken to some therapists about that condition in particular, and I've been told that it's almost impossible to eradicate out of the mind because it's just so embedded. It's so deeply embedded.
Yeah, like I said, if there's a mental disorder, get it diagnosed by a doctor so we can know what's going on, because anybody can say anything. They can say, I have this, that, and the third, but if we don't have any evidence, then it's like, you know, people could just make up lies. If it's diagnosed by a doctor, let's get that treated. I advocate for treating those that actually need help, helping those that need help, and not those who do not need it. And that's pretty much the long and short of that.
Right, I agree with that, absolutely. But once the person is on Section 8, do you have any ideas on how maybe they could, you know, kind of wean themselves off of that government assistance? Like, what are some first steps that you would recommend taking for someone in that position?
I don't know everybody's situation, so I can't necessarily answer that question because it's multifaceted. You could talk about somebody that has like a mental disorder, somebody that has a physical disorder. I don't really know.
Right. Yeah.
Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you for your time.
All righty. Shout out to the caller. You guys are very, very interested with the calls tonight. I tell you what, shout out to her. All right. Let's keep on rocking and rolling here. Let's go to 347 online speaker to 347.
Okay, no problem. I'll wait.
Can you hear me, boss?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I can hear you now.
All right.
Yeah, so I want to ask you about the 6-3 decision with affirmative action. My question is, especially to, I'm African American, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we not think that our colleges are good enough? We not think that the you understand? It's like we're saying, oh, we don't get the good. It's just like the Major League Baseball thing all over again. All these black owners lost all their money to go to the white baseball, and look how many black owners lost their shirt because we felt their stuff was better. When are we going to understand our stuff is not only just good enough, but might be even better? Why don't we believe in our own institutions? How many colleges that we have closed? HBCUs. St. Paul's closed in 2013. I think another one just closed last year. Why wasn't there as much noise about our own schools closing as we're making that noise about what's going on now with the 6-3 decision about losing affirmative action?
That's a very, very good question.
Right. I think we should take more pride in our own stuff. Sorry, not to cut you off. I just think we should take more pride in our stuff and be more serious about developing our own institutions, our own support system, and start depending on the white man to do it for us. We don't need them. Like, we have millionaires now. We have knowledge. We have the internet. And I'm just sitting here thinking, because when I heard it, at first I was shocked. I'm not going to lie to you. But I was like, hold up. We have our own colleges. We have HBCUs. Why is that not good enough? And like I said, not to be repetitive, but I'm going to say it again. Just like Major League Baseball when they had the Negro League, you know how many times the Negro League went over and used to beat up on the Major League Baseball teams? You know how many times, you can look this up. The NBA used to beg to go try to do double headers because people didn't want to watch the NBA. And what did we do? The Colts tried to sue around, but a lot of black players went too. They didn't form their own league. They didn't form their own basketball league. They went to the NBA. Same thing with Major League Baseball. There were so many great, Cecil Page, great baseball players. And when you said, let's do our own thing, keep going, we broke up our own stuff to lose our own money to go to their stuff. All I'm saying, brothers and sisters, we don't always have to go to their things. We need to take our stuff more serious. And we might have lost this affirmative action, but you act like we don't got colleges and universities. So, and what is your thoughts, by the way?
You're 100% right. I mean, I'm saying the same thing. And it's so weird seeing people, black folks to talk about all this HBCU stuff like Roland Martin. And he's crying about affirmative action. It's like, well, aren't you like a proponent of HBCUs? You're wearing all this African garb on, but then when you're talking about affirmative action, which really doesn't really help you, it actually kind of hurts. You talking about that?
It doesn't. I agree.
Yeah, so I just don't understand the logic. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's just so weird. It's really weird. The pro-blacks talking about have her own thing, have her own stuff, separate black this, they crying about that. So I just don't get it.
But I don't get it either. We have our own colleges. Be not only appreciative, but be proud of what we already have. And we could build our own Harvards. We could build our own Princetons. We just got to have the confidence to do it. That's all I got to say. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Call, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Shout out to the caller. Very well said. I agree 100%. It's like the pro-blacks talking about black this, black that, blackity black, black. Oh, the white man don't like me. I'm going to protest. Huh? What are you even talking about? And really, at the end of the day, they're acting like, since race is no longer a thing to admit somebody over in college, that we can't go to college anymore. It's like you can go to an all-black school if you want to, or a majority black school if you want to. You can even go to a good state school. You can go wherever your academic performance says you can go. That's what everybody should want. It's not like, oh, okay, you're black, you can't go to college anymore. That's so silly. All you got to do is do well. There's no more segregation that says you can't go here because you're black. All that it is, hey, you get the good test scores, you have good SAT scores. Are you intelligent? Are you gifted? Are you talented? Okay, welcome to XYZ college. If you're not gifted, talented, educated, intelligent enough, then you may not be able to go to some colleges. It is what it is. Join the Hispanics, okay? Join the Hispanics. The Chinese, the Japanese, Koreans, South Asians, like the Indian subcontinent people, Raj Patel type people, right? And the white man, they're going to be the ones to dominate the higher institutions. What does that mean? We got to just tighten up. And that's it. And if we're not in Harvard, Yale, or whatever at a large percentage, so what? Go wherever is best suited for us. And stop crying about what others are doing. Rather than crying about it, we should be copying them and doing what they do to get where they go, rather than trying to abuse the system and manipulate it to force our way into a place. Don't do that. Just be better. And that's it. Let it be a motivating factor for you. 773, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, it's your retired Chicago police officer friend. How you doing?
Oh, well, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. ABL, a school like MIT or any of these other elite universities, they are way beyond a knowledge level that certain people may have not received previously at the grammar school and high school levels that they went to. And, you know, a college is not a place to start to learn some of the basic foundation things that you need at that particular college. Sadly, because so many grammar schools and high schools are not teaching the well-rounded basics of learning, reading, writing, arithmetic, basic history, science, etc. And depending on the level of knowledge that you receive from whatever particular grammar school and high school you went to will be what determines which school you can go to. As simple as that. The bottom line, ABL, is some young people are dumb. And the reason that is because the woke have infiltrated the education system, and they're no longer teaching those basics that are needed to be engineers, to make, you know, to run robots, to make machines, to make trucks, to design things. All that. If you watch those street videos where they ask those young people questions, and they can't answer some of the most basic questions, and if you look at those videos, you'll see all different races and all different locations across the country. This new generation of children are not receiving the level of education in grammar schools and high schools to get them into college or into a good school. You know, you'll be able to go to some schools, but some of these people have been, you know, in these school systems that have really been infiltrated with the woke, who are not teaching the basics. Not only are they doing a disservice to those children, but some of those kids won't even be able to get into community college. The only college they'll be able to get into is those scam storefront colleges that says they're going to teach you fingerprinting, or they're going to teach you some nonsense that they know you're never going to be able to be at a level to get a job, but they'll take your money because they make you apply, they help you apply for the tuition, for the loans, and they help you apply for the loans and everything else so they can get paid. Then there's the community colleges. There's nothing wrong with them. There's the state university. There's other private schools. And then there's the elite schools. And you will fit in to whichever school that the previous schools that you went to prepared you for. Simple as that. I went to a state school. I never graduated. I got my degree by going to school through the police department. 30 years later, I got my degree from when I started. You know, when I went to a state school, but I probably would have never gotten. Sure, I would never got into, you know, Harvard or MIT or anything because of where my level was at. You know, so the problem is they're not even making it so kids can compete with regular jobs, smaller jobs. You know, the one woman earlier was saying about Section 8 and welfare and all that. After my quarter century as a policeman in the ghetto in the inner cities, an inner city like Chicago, I never want to stop those programs for those people. And I'll tell you why, ABL, because they have no marketable skills. They don't. They went to poor schools that taught them poorly. They were in a neighborhood that you can't take the school out of the violent neighborhood that it's in, and that's who's going to those schools. And the violence on the street, and the drama in the home, and everything else. You know, no fathers in the home because everybody's on welfare, because welfare requires that you don't have a man in the house. Some kids were lucky they have a man in the house, although not on paper. I'm not married to her, but I'm in the house. So, you know, some kids are luckier than others, but the situation in those ghettos are in such, you know, disrepair that the crime would go through the roof if you said, next October, your check stops, because they learned how to play that game, the welfare game, and they have no other marketable skills. And if you take that check away from them, it's going to cost society even more money and more victims and everything else, because people do have to eat. And you'll turn some people that are just collecting a government check into criminals because I have no money. I have no money. What am I going to do? And they run out of ideas, and the only idea is, let me take it from you. So I'm one of those people who say, don't take that money away from them. I'm a person that says we need to fix these schools so the next generation of kids are prepared for life and to make themselves a living and everything else, and is set to learn on a higher level. But there are going to be a generation of children and a generation of adults that are lost. Some of them are beyond saving. And that's just the facts of life. Some criminals will never stop being a criminal. Some people will never stop what they're doing. They're not going to change on the whole. So you have to start young. And that's the insidious thing about when the LGBTQ generation or these woke people talk about, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. Because most of them are not wanting to molest children. They want to change children's minds, because they know that if you start young and give children a certain thing and a certain teaching, that they'll grow into adults with that thinking. And that's what they really want. They want to change people's thinking. And I'm saying change people's thinking by changing their education in a good way, I don't think children should be sexualized at all, even if you're talking about heterosexual stuff. Just let that happen naturally. And when they're adults, if they want to become a woman and go get breast implants, let them go do that. But not as children. But we're going to lose a generation of kids, but we need to do something about the education system. That's my 2 cents this week, ABL. Thanks for listening to me. I'll talk to you later and talk to everybody else also.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Very well said. Very, very well said. And that will be a wrap for me. The show that went by so fast. I feel like I just sat down and started, and now we're at 11 o'clock Eastern. So thank you guys for being here. If you couldn't get on tonight, don't blame me. Blame the white man. I know to blame. But that will be a wrap for me. I'll be back live again on Wednesday, of course. And I'm here every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So y'all check me out next time. And if you enjoyed the show tonight, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. This is also a podcast out of interruption. So I'm going to try to get this off of YouTube and download it and convert it to audio. So that should be up tomorrow morning. Hopefully it is. If it's not, y'all please, email me to death about that. But that'll be available audio only on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Apple, iTunes, etc. Link for that will be in the description box, or go to favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. Shout out to everybody that's been here watching, retweeting, super chatting, whatever you're doing. Couldn't do it without you. Shout out to the mods. If you've been here tonight, keeping the trolls in check. And we got super chats right here to read. Then I wrap it on up, put the bowl clean on top. Shout out to Paul for becoming an ABL supporter. I appreciate you. And thank you to Slenderella Charming for the excited dancing emoji. I appreciate you for that. You guys have been great. Happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Get you some good fireworks. The M80 bombs. Put that right in your front yard. No, I'm playing. Be safe, please. Be safe. I don't want to have nobody come back to ABL Live talking about, hey, man, you know what? I was playing with fireworks, and I lost all 4 of my fingers and my big toe on my right-hand side. Anybody trying to hear that, please be safe. Enjoy yourself. And remember what it's about. July 4th, 1776, we gained independence. We are an independent nation. We became independent on that day. And every day we got to fight for our independence. How about that? So that'll be a wrap for me. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out, and peace.